sun is shining, the sky is clear, and we are ready for some Sunday afternoon baseball. Game 3, St. John's, Arizona State, here from Phoenix Municipal Stadium. We welcome you in. I'm Eric Matsumoto alongside Aiden Blanc. Aiden, very low-scoring affair, 9-1, only 3-1 yesterday. Disappointment from a lot of the offensive players, particularly on the St. John side.
Yeah, Willie Bloom was very critical of his offense in the game yesterday. St. John's hasn't hit the entire weekend. ASU at least has runs, 9 of them on Friday night, and certainly feel like last night could have been an outlier. St. John's is allowing this to become a trend, and that's just not something you can do if you want to win baseball games. They have, 21 strikeouts between these first two games. They've got to put the ball in play. They've got to run the bases better. They've got to do a lot better offensively, and certainly an opportunity to do that against Easton.
Yeah, Easton, the numbers obviously very early on in the season, but an ugly start for the season.
I think these are two similar pitchers that had very strange, hopefully uncharacteristic outings their first time through. Victor Frederick comes in with an ERA that's 24.55. Easton Barrett is at 30. But both of those are just misleading numbers. Barrett, 4 earned runs in that first start, so they're both in the same spot. They had tough first outings, looking to change it up here and settle in to what hopefully will be their Sunday roles.
Yeah, you never want that to become a trend. 2 pitchers who are trying to get right, 2 offenses who are trying to get right. We'll have to see what prevails. A much warmer day today as we're looking at just about 80 degrees, so we'll have to see. Ballpark might be playing a little bit more live. We'll see what happens. We'll take a short break here. We'll be back with lineups and first pitch on ESPN Plus right after this. Back here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, getting ready for some Big East Big 12 baseball. Game 3 of St. John's and Arizona State. Easton Barrett on the hill for the Sun Devils. Aiden just looking to get right here in his second start of the year.
He only went 4 innings his first time out. He gave up 4 earned runs. He'd like to do that a little bit better. His numbers last year were really good, as you can see on the screen. His numbers on Sundays were perfectly fine for a Sunday afternoon, especially for a team that has struggled a lot to find a reliable arm on Sundays. You should have him for at least 1 more year after this, hopefully. So trying to build him into a weekend role, and obviously it's got to be in the back of his mind. He knows if he doesn't perform right away, he'll go to the bullpen. There are too many good arms. You know, we saw Cole Klecker earlier this week, terrific. There's too many good arms in this ASU rotation for you to have a weak weekend starter. All 3 of the weekend spots should be highly competitive, and You know, the first two guys have certainly earned it. Easton's got to make sure that he solidifies that spot. Probably this start and next, he's got to make sure that those numbers are good enough that he stays in that role. Otherwise, he'll go to the bullpen, and probably Cole Klecker comes into Sundays.
Yeah, and he's going up against a St. John's lineup that, well, they haven't gotten that big hit. They've been knocking on the door, and so he has to be careful. Cole Carlone did a good job locking it down when he needed to. Colin Linder did a good job locking it down when he needed to, but the St. John's lineup, they've been getting more and more base runners. It feels like it's only a matter of time. It'll start here with Luis Rodriguez.
And we talked about the depth of that bullpen. Well, Willie Bloomquist showed yesterday he has no problem going to that bullpen at the first sign of trouble. They have a ton of arms at your disposal. It's a pretty good bullpen for a Sunday afternoon. So if there's any problems, Willie has shown pretty early on he will not hesitate to bring somebody else in that can stop the fire.
First pitch from Easton in there for strike one. As he bounces that one in the dirt. Rodriguez 0 for 3 with a walk yesterday. He had the only run on Friday with a solo home run towards center field. So not a great day by any means, or a great weekend, but he's been doing relatively well by the standards St. John's have had this weekend. Reached base in both games and obviously did have an RBI. It's Barrett getting in the zone early on here, getting ahead of hitters 1 and 2.
6 walks his first time out. You'd like that to improve here.
And did he go? Yes, he did. Rung up at home plate by Steve Mattingly, and that's how this game gets started.
Well, that's what you want in this kind of bounce-back outing, if you will.
Looking for strikes, looking for early pitches in the zone, looking for early swings and misses. He got all 3 of those to start it off against Rodriguez, and that'll bring up John LeGrande. So he misses down and away there with the first one.
I think if there's one thing he should have learned from these first 2 starts this weekend, it's that this team strikes out a lot. If you just throw it into the zone, you're going to be able to beat them. Trust your stuff, and he has no problem doing that right on the first batter of the game.
That one misses down. 2-0 to LeGrande, who has not had a good weekend, and his numbers have fallen significantly because of it.
We talked a lot yesterday. You're waiting for the other pin to drop with him, expecting it at some point he's going to turn it on, and you hope that for ASU's sake that doesn't happen this weekend at least.
Well, he's ahead 3-0 here. You're wondering if he'll just be taken, given that he's in a bit of a slump this weekend. 3-0 offering is down, ball 4, and so that's a 4-pitch walk from Barrett.
That is why he's such a good player and a summer ball MVP, because even on weekends where he's striking out a lot and not having the best of luck hitting the ball, he is still able to draw. That's his either 3rd or 4th walk this weekend. So he is still able to find ways on base, and he is a stolen base machine, has the only stolen base of the weekend for St. John's. So he's still finding a way to be threatening, even if that batting average isn't right there quite yet.
Rafe Stanger squares around to bunt. We saw a little bit of that yesterday as well from both sides, trying to play a little bit of small ball as some of the hits just weren't falling. LeGrande is a threat to steal. He stole 1 on Friday. He's 5 for 6 on the season. Barrett watches him. He'll check on him real quick.
Remember, St. John's attempted with McMillan yesterday but got thrown out.
Yeah, we have not seen a ton of success on the bases in this series on both sides. We've had a couple pickoffs while ASU's been running the bases, a couple caught stealing while St. John's, and we've got a pickoff here. They've got LeGrande picked off. It'll be McMillan over to Mutsaritas, and they got him.
Well, remember ASU had that happen to him on Friday, and they've run into some base running issues this weekend. Good to be on the other side of that.
Yep, and good throws all the way around. Barrett to Smaldino, Smaldino to Mutsaritas, because in that play, LeGrande does the right thing. He puts his head down and just runs. He forced ASU to make a good defensive play, and they did.
And the second lefty that St. John's has seen in the starting role this weekend. You'd think that they would start to figure that out a little bit better.
So after the pickoff, it's now 2 outs, nobody on, and a 2-1 count to Rafe Stanger. This one's down the left field line. It'll hook foul and out of play. So 2-2 now.
Another late arriving crowd. It was about 3,500 on Friday, about 2,800 yesterday. Last home games of this this opening home stand for ASU. And then day off tomorrow and back at it for 2 with Oklahoma this week. Biggest challenge is probably on the early season.
This week, we've talked about it all weekend, will certainly be a challenge for Arizona State. So even though they've already won the series, it still makes this game big to build momentum for those tough opponents coming up. Full count here to Rafe Stanger. Pitch. Up high, ball 4, second walk of the inning from Barrett. And even though we haven't seen a lot of offense coming from St. John's, they've been working counts. We saw it early on yesterday against Linder. They were able to get a lot of those full counts. They were able to have some discipline. And so if you're Barrett, it's really about you have to keep throwing strikes.
Yeah, Linder walked 3, but the next 3 guys only walked 1 combined. So the walks got significantly less frequent as ASU went to the bullpen. I'm sure St. John's remembers that.
First baseman Sean McMillan takes strike 1 in there.
To stay in this weekend rotation, you have to throw strikes. This is too good of a pitching group with too many guys that can do multiple things to have a Sunday starter not able to throw strikes. And this is an ugly start for Easton in that department.
Yeah, that one gets lined through the open right side. It'll be a base hit. Rafe Stanger over to second, now with 2 outs. St. John's in business, but these are the situations they haven't been able to cash in this weekend.
Have they had a hit with runners in scoring position? They were 0 for 8 yesterday.
See on the replay here, good job by McMillan. With the runner being held, left the right side wide open. Just went with the pitch to the other way. Now we have the runner in scoring position for Dylan Fitzsimmons, who's had himself a pretty good weekend and a pretty good start to the year.
We should note, we're critical of the walks here from Easton, but Willie Bloomquist was still very confident in him after that last Sunday start. He said that was an anomaly. That was not something that we expect to continue from him. So the confidence is still very much there, and we already know he's almost certain to be starting next Sunday as well. The rotation, Willie has said, is probably not changing until after Arlington. So he's got a chance here. Willie's not going to pull him at the first sign of problems. He's confident after all that Easton did last year, and he's giving Easton a chance to work through it and find a groove, which you like to see out of your Sunday starter.
1-2 with 2 on and 2 out here in the first. Barrett. This is outside there, 2-2. Fitzsimmons coming into this one hitting .421. He had 2 hits yesterday. He reached base on a walk on Friday. The 2-2. Outside ball 3. That'll make the count full. That'll put both runners in motion.
And it puts Barrett in a difficult spot here. With, as you mentioned, a hitter who's over 400 in average. If you're going to attack him, you're going to do that at your own risk here.
3-2. Runners on the move. The pitch is called, strike 3. Barrett gets into trouble, but like the ASU pitchers have been doing, he gets out of it. Nothing across for St. John's. ASU coming up after this on ESPN+. Welcome back here on ESPN Plus for the bottom of the first inning. St. John's starter on the mound tonight going to be Victor Frederick. For more on him, we send it down to Amanda Roche.
And give it their best. We really have to give a nod to St. John's pitcher, Victor Frederick. In his freshman year alone, he threw 43 strikeouts across 52 innings. This is a guy you're going to want to keep your eye on in his sophomore year now, and he's just getting started for the Red Storm.
Thanks, Amanda. And very similar to Easton Barrett in that he had that strong freshman year. And so even though a rough start to start off this year, still confidence from Mike Hampton.
Same deal with Easton Barrett. It's one start. In his case, he threw less than Barrett. He only threw 2 innings and change, so even less of a sample size than with Easton, who had a little bit more of a full start last weekend. You just got to throw him out there and see what happens. Mike Hampton told me with just about every pitcher, the goal is just to see them throw strikes, attack the zone, avoid free passes. ASU only had 2 walks yesterday. You'd love to see a repeat of that here on this Sunday afternoon. We know how ugly these Sundays can sometimes get with bullpens down to their last few arms and the ball flying in the warm temperatures. So if he can have a productive outing today, that's an A+ from Mike Hampton.
Yeah, it'll be Landon Hairston to start off. He had a very good first game. Was held quiet to just a walk yesterday, but he has been the top bat to start things off for Arizona State this year. He squares to bunt, lays it down the third base line. If it's gonna stay fair, it is, as it's touched by Victor Frederick. Looked like he was debating between letting it go fair or foul.
He got to first. He got to first before they touched that ball. That's a hit, I think, and Mike Hampton's got to go challenge this. Landon did a great job hustling down the line. That's exactly what you need to do. It's not a rule that everyone really pays attention to. If he gets to first before the ball's touched, he's on base, and that's exactly what he just did. That's an excellent hustle job from Landon Hairston. I was just about to tell you how impressed I was. St. John's kind of pitched around him yesterday, really limited his role at the top, but he just showed right off the first pitch of the day, it doesn't matter if you're going to try to pitch right. He's going to find a way to get on base.
And St. John's even had the third baseman, Rafe Stanger, in there, and it was just a perfect bunt from Hairston. Like you said, great hustle out of the box. So it'll be Mutsuritas now. That one's fouled off his foot.
And I think it was more St. John's not knowing the rule than Landon. Obviously, Landon knew what he was doing. It was St. John's who needed to, somebody in that dugout needed to touch the ball, because you got to touch it for it to be foul before he gets to first base.
But, I mean, it was a spectacular bunt. That ball was just staying fair.
Yep.
It looked like Frederick was going to wait for it to go foul, but then it might have been that, wow, that one is lined right to the shortstop, Manser. Tough luck out for Mutsuritas, but it looked like Frederick might have not been going for it, and then someone might have let him know he needs to touch it, and so he got kind of caught in between, and by then Hairston was already on first base. But great contact there from Mutsuritas, just hit it right at him.
And that's a frustrating at bat there from Mutsuritas, who is back in the lineup, started on Friday, didn't come in yesterday, put a really good rip on that ball, and it looked like that ball was rising and going to get over Manser and be a base hit. Now they got a very interesting shift here on Toigo. Rafe Stanger is the only one on the left side of the infield, and he's playing basically in on the grass. Now he's backed up a little.
Yeah, it looks like he's retreating a little bit more here.
They're very confident where Dean Toigo's going to hit the baseball here.
And he's going to hit it foul to the left side where they moved all their guys away from.
That was a good idea. He had the right plan, because if that ball stayed a little bit fairer, he's probably on first base. And anything on the left side that's not directly at Rafe Stanger, who's basically playing it short. Look at how much room is on both sides of him. He's got a good shot here, Toigo does, to get on base with an infield single if he can just find the left side here.
0-2 on the way. Outside 1-2 with 2 strikes now. Rafe Stanger playing essentially a traditional shortstop. The entire regular third base position wide open.
he's shaded even a little bit off to second base for a shortstop position. He's got all that ground to cover. Just find that left side.
Dancing around as that pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3.
Well, credit to St. John's and Frederick there. ASU base runners have given them, though they've had some success throwing them out, ASU base runners have given them some headaches this weekend. ASU is especially starting last season, is a team that loves to run the bases, cause problems, get in your head. He didn't even glance at Landon, who was obviously trying to draw a throw over at first base.
And you'll expect with 2 outs, he'll continue to do that here as New Contrades comes up. Fouls this one right to the booth next to us, basically.
New is all the way back in that box. His back foot is almost over the line.
And they will throw over to first, and close play. Ball was dropped by McMillan, but Hairston still able to get back. A much more straight up defense for Contrades, which seems to be rarer and rarer these days to have a traditional 2-2 infield, especially at a traditional depth.
They still give him a lot of room right side. Whoa.
As that pitch is thrown all the way behind Contrades. A very wild pitch from Victor Frederick, and Hairston easily to second.
Looked like it just slipped out of his hands. Even Landon's reaction and New's reaction were a little delayed. They didn't really understand what was happening either. Big opportunity now, though, for New. Look at how quickly that situation changed. He had a runner on second yesterday and went right back up the middle to get that run in. Turned out to be one of the most important runs ASU had all day because they only got 3 of them.
Yeah, they didn't have that big inning they had in game 1, and you don't know what the offense is going to do today. So you have runner at second, good speed at second with Hairston. Single should be able to get a run home. With 2 outs here in the first. And it's 3-1 now to Contrades.
Frederick has started to lose focus. He was rolling. Those first 3 batters, would have been easy to let that Hairston bunt go to his head, but he got Mutsaritas and Toigo both out, one of them on a strikeout, but now he's starting to lose a little bit of focus there.
As that's called strike 2. Contrades was taking a step toward first.
It's a wide zone today from Steve Mattingly at the plate. That's gone both ways. Something to keep in mind for both of these teams. Err on the side of swing.
And Contrades does. He fouls that one back to stay alive.
That's how the first inning ended, with Fitzsimmons on kind of a borderline call. Steve Mattingly has made it clear these first 2 half innings. He's calling that outside strike. Look at New's back foot. It's all the way in back of the line there. He moved back even from the start of the at-bat.
And he'll hit this one into the air. Shallow center. And it'll be the center fielder, LaGrande, to call everyone off and make the catch. ASU, 1 hit, 1 left. We will head to the 2nd inning. Still scoreless here at Phoenix Muni on ESPN+. here at Phoenix Muni. Scoreless first inning. Both teams had opportunities, but they end up leaving a runner in scoring position.
And both of them, you're right, had opportunities, didn't quite pull through. Not that that's a shocking thing to say this weekend. We've said it the last 2 nights. They've had opportunities, they just haven't come through. With runners on base, it's getting frustrating for both managers. I'm sure more so for Mike Hampton, whose team has come on the short end of these 2 games, versus Willie Bloomquist, who at least, you know, despite some of their shortcomings in that department, have come away with 2 wins. Might be a little different for Willie if he were in the other dugout.
Yeah. Ball 2 now to Aiden Frey, St. John's second baseman. And both the opportunities in the top of the first and bottom of the first kind of given to the teams. 2 walks from Barrett in the top of the first inning, and then that really wild pitch from Frederick in the bottom of the inning. Neither team quite able to cash it in, as that one misses just down, and it's 3-0 now. Barrett struggling to find the strike zone here in the second as well. Puts it in. 3-1.
Last 4 in this lineup only had 3 hits last night, but it was 3 of the 5 hits for this team. So the offense did kind of come from the bottom, which is a little bit of a different trend from what happened on Friday. So you'd like the bottom of the lineup to keep producing here.
And a lot of that came from the man who's coming up right now, Aiden Agresti. He had himself a homer and a single in his first 2 at-bats yesterday. So not ideal to walk Frey in front of him.
Barrett's just got to keep filling the zone. He did not do that in the first inning, though he did have 2 strikeouts. It was kind of the one extreme or the other. He had 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a hit.
So this one's chopped to third, going to be past Zavorik. And the first 2 St. John's hitters have reached here in the second.
Just got underneath Beckett's glove. He made a good play at it, but it got underneath his glove. Looked like he was just taking responsibility out there in the field. And an early conversation here with Jeremy Accardo. You look at that. I think the ball just was coming a little too fast at him. He didn't have a chance to fully, you know, get to it.
That's why they call it the hot corner. Ball gets on you quick over there, and this is an interesting spot both for ASU and St. John's. Possibility we see a bunt here with 2 on and nobody out, maybe a little bit of small ball.
And already some action in the ASU bullpen. What did we say off the top? This team is deep. You really don't want that going today, given what you've got coming up the next week or so. But the most important thing right now is winning this game. And if you need to burn an arm, you're going to do that. I would assume Jaden Alba's in play today. He was a Sunday starter last year. Before Barrett, he actually began as the Sunday starter until an injury had him taken out for a little while. He could go long. I think right now looking at, could somebody come in and if Barrett can't settle down, could we maybe take him, maybe push him, use him in a midweek and you know, burn a guy like Jaden Alba today? I know Klecker is supposed to start at least one of these midweeks.
Manser squared all the way. Got it down the third base line. That's the direction you want those bunts to go. And his textbook execution.
And now it's the age-old question, the 3-day-old question. Second and third, 1 out. Can they come through? They're going to bring Smaldino in here, so it's obvious they would try to cut off the run, depending on how Frey plays it at third base.
Yep, middle infielders are back. They'd sacrifice a run if it went there. Strike 1 on Jack Tate. Tate did not start the game yesterday. did start in game 1, had a double on a 1-for-3 night.
And he's the DH, not the catcher today.
So that one swung on and missed for strike 2.
There you go. If the fastball's not working, 83 on a little breaking ball, not too bad either.
And now you're in an 0-2 count. You can play with it a little bit. You gotta trust your catcher to block anything in the dirt. Brody Briggs has done a great job of that so far this year. Up and away there, makes it 1-2.
And Willie was very impressed with the catching both of these games. Brody had Friday, Koen Nikolai had yesterday, the ever so rare occurrence of a pass ball, and yet still, Willie had mentioned, blocked a lot of good pitches. The catchers have played well.
So that one's grounded back to the mound. Runner holding at third. Barrett will make the play, and a non-productive out. Exactly what ASU needed and exactly what St. John's was dreading.
That's a huge out, and hopefully gives Easton a little more confidence as he faces this part of the lineup that got him in the first time around, the top of it. Remember, he struck out Rodriguez but ran into trouble with LeGrand and Jader, and you really don't want either one of them coming up with any kind of runners on base, any kind of chance to do damage. You'd rather get them up fresh next inning.
He's got 2 outs here. Infield can relax. Just looking for number 3, but he starts off 1-0 here to Rodriguez. This one also misses up. Now it's 2-0. Now if you're Rodriguez, you're in the driver's seat. It's 2 outs. You're just looking to find some grass. Find a way to get the hit that your team has not been able to get all weekend. So that one falls in there. Big strike 1.
I think he's just trying to figure out the zone here. Good thing to do. Remember, it's pretty wide, but you have a strike to give if it's not right there for you. That was the pitch. It wasn't there.
Now it's 3-1. Now you do have an open first base, so you want this to be a competitive pitch, but by no means do you want it to be right down the middle. And he gets the call. Rodriguez threw the bat. He thought that was ball 4.
A little bit premature there. We've seen pitches way further outside the zone than that get called strikes. I think, again, it's a wide zone. You cannot assume anything right now with Mattingly.
The 3-2. Fouled away. We'll do it again.
Now you really need to protect, because now you're at 2 strikes. Remember the last inning, you were up, it ended on a borderline pitch that went for a strike.
If you're Rodriguez, you've seen the strike zone.
You don't want that happening twice in a row with runners in scoring position to end the inning on borderline pitches that you take. That can't happen.
Here's the 3-2. And it is hit high and foul. Smaldino is over. Smaldino will catch it. And Barrett works around it again. He strands 2 for the 2nd inning in a row. St. John's is scoreless, so's ASU as we head to the bottom of the 2nd on ESPN+. Back here on ESPN Plus, 5-6-7 due up for the Sun Devils. And to talk about their lineup, we send it down to Amanda.
We have some exciting news for you guys as Kai McGarry is in the starting lineup for the Sun Devils. Now this will be his first ever college start. In his freshman year, the native to Phoenix, Arizona mainly served as a pinch runner due to his speed, saw 6 at-bats. But there's no better way than to start this day by celebrating his move up to this prominent position.
Yeah, big moment for Kai. He'll either get up this inning or next. We've talked about it all weekend, all season, about how competitive this lineup is.
Smaldino's just gonna bloop that one in. It was in on the hands, but he muscles it over the infield. Leadoff base runner on again for Arizona State.
Kai possesses so much raw talent, and he just hasn't had an opportunity to show it in like a normal situation. As Amanda said, most of his appearances have been either in pinch hit situations late in games that maybe were already decided, or pinch run situations. He has not had a start yet, so excited to see him in this opportunity. When you have all of that talent, and you've got 3-4 outfielders ahead of him, it's just so difficult for Willie Bloomquist to find a spot for him, but good to see him get in here. And he might be a weapon next weekend too. Back in that pinch running, pinch hitting situation in games that everyone, I think, on ASU's staff expects to be very tight down to the wire, especially in Arlington. If you could get him in a pinch hit situation or a pinch run situation, that'd be great.
And those games, especially late, every base is going to matter. So being able to have someone with his speed, with his athleticism, with his abilities to be able to be deployed can always be useful. It's 2-1 here on Garrett Michel. This is way up. 3-1. They've got the overshift on for him. 3 infielders to the right of second. Rafe Stanger started in. He's moved back since then. With Smaldino on first. 3-1 is chopped to the right side. Picked up by Frey, and a collision at second base. They'll get the out. Looks like everyone's all right. Smaldino, not a little guy to run into.
That's an excellent slide by Dom. Not dirty or anything, but did what you needed to do. His job was to make sure that Manzer didn't get that throwaway, and he prevents the double play. That's good base running.
Yeah, that is your job. You want to make sure that you are getting in the way of the play. You're not dead once that ball gets there. You're still allowed to slide into the bag, and keeps a runner on base here for Arizona State as Beckett Zavorik gets to bat here. As he lines that one off the glove of the first baseman McMillan. He'll tag first, the throw to second, and they'll tag Michel there. A non-conventional double play, to say the least, but St. John's will get out of it unscathed. We'll head over to the third inning here on ESPN Plus. Still scoreless. back here on ESPN Plus for the top of the third inning. Still scoreless, but Aiden, we have had runners galore through 2 innings. Just no one's been able to get anything across.
A lot of like situational things that you might run through in practice earlier in the season that are coming in early here. That was the craziest half inning there with ASU that featured a Smaldino getting thrown out at second, but then a hard slide preventing a double play, and then a very hard hit ball by Zavorik, that just randomly got dropped over at first base. No like base running mistakes per se, and now we have our second like strange slip out of the hand. This is Sunday scaries to a T here.
Yeah, definitely seen some interesting things, and we are only in the third inning, so buckle up. But that one seemed to just slip right out of Barrett's hand in the same way that one slipped right out of Frederick's hand. So it's 2-0 now to start against John Legrand.
The 2 through 6 hitters, 5 of them reach base their first time through. Let's see how Easton handles it. There is still action in the ASU bullpen. Remember, it looked like Willie was pretty close to making a move there last inning if things had gone out of hand. So I think this next time through is going to be very crucial to see if Easton can stay in this game for an extended period.
There's a strike.
He only did 4 innings his first time out, so this is going to be probably the deciding group of hitters if he's still got it.
That one is up the middle through the legs of Barrett, picked up at short by Mutsaritas, throws to first. I don't think Barrett actually touched it, so he won't get credit for the assist, but a nice play up the middle.
Well, the one thing that ASU has had this entire season that's been so consistent is the defense. Their pitchers have had big strikeout games, but consistently through this entire season, the theme has been their defense is not making bad mistakes, and it's one of those things that you don't notice it until you start making those mistakes. When it's clean baseball, you rarely notice, but you certainly notice when teams are making a lot of little errors, and ASU has fortunately not made a lot of those. Legrand still without a hit this weekend.
Jader Rafestanger now. And that was a really big play because that was the 8th pitch that Barrett had thrown to Legrand, and that was only the second one that was considered a strike. He walked him on 4 pitches first time up, got down 3-0 this time.
You got to think positively. His ERA is dropping. It's 10-9-1. What was it, 20 when?
Between 20 and 30 when we started.
And now it's 10-9-1. This will be his 48th pitch, so not like crazy inefficient, especially given how many walks he's had.
So he falls behind 3-1 again.
Positivity gonna be big with him early with these struggles.
And this is outside. That's ball 4. That's the 4th walk in 3 innings from Barrett.
And this should be his day. Here comes Willie. It's a disappointing day. It probably won't show on the stat sheet unless Rafestanger comes around. Even if he does, it's 1 earned run. But you got to get him right, man.
Looks like Jaden Alba will be the one to come in here. We'll tell you all about him when we come back from this short break. Welcome back here on ESPN Plus. New pitcher for Arizona State, a man who knows how to pitch on Sundays, Jaden Alba.
And Jaden was the Sunday starter until he got injured a week or two into last season, around this time actually, when he started having injury problems. This is the correct move out of the bullpen. If you're pulling Easton, which seems to be the right spot, Jaden's the guy, because you don't totally have to go to a bullpen game now. Jaden can go 3, 4, maybe even 5 innings, depending on how he throws. It's very simple right now. You need someone that's going to throw strikes. Easton will finish his day 4 walks and 2 1/3. You need someone that's going to hit the zone, get those calls, and Jaden should be the one to do that.
Yeah, we talked about it. You've got a wider zone to work with today, so he should be able to come in, throw some strikes. He only has 1 runner on base to start, so while not a clean entry, it's not certainly a stress situation, but he does have some big bats due up here with McMillan and Fitzsimmons.
8 starts last year for Alba, and then came out of the bullpen 3 times. He finished with a 3-1 record. Twice last year he went 5+. If he could go 5+ here, that'd be great. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And then you're curious to see what happens with Easton too, right? Do you bring him back against A&M on Sunday next week, or do you maybe say, okay, we'll try Jaden on Sunday. Easton only threw 2 1/3 today. Maybe he could turn around and go Wednesday or out of the pen Friday or Saturday. Do you change up his spot at all? That'll all be for Willie to answer post game. But right now, the most important thing, Jaden Alba has to hit the strike zone.
And it'll be Sean McMillan as the first batter he will face here with 1 out and 1 on in the 3rd. Strike 1.
And this is the perfect person when you need strikes. He had 45 strikeouts to just 18 walks and 40 1/3 last year. He did not walk a lot of batters and had a respectable amount of strikeouts, was averaging over 1 an inning. Had it not been for his injury, he would have been, getting 10, 11, 12 starts on Sundays. A healthy Jaden Alba is a very good thing for you.
Well, that's the hope here, is that he comes in. He's gotten to 0-2 so far here. Just keep throwing strikes against this St. John's lineup.
And he came in a week ago in relief. This was the exact same situation as last Sunday, 4 1/3 for him, and he settled down. No earned runs, 3 hits. So you were literally in the same situation you were in last Sunday, maybe minus a couple runs with Omaha. And you're hoping Jaden gives you the same exact output.
0-2 down and away. And even there, it's pitching with intention when you're missing the zone. If you're ahead in the count, you can play with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
It just feels like he's got more control. Barrett just didn't feel like he knew where the ball was going.
I love that word, intentional. Jaden's misses are not going to really be accidental a lot. That's another kind of chase me pitch.
Now you've given him a couple. Probably want this to be pretty close to the strike zone. Don't want to go to a full count here.
Omaha hit 111 last Sunday with runners on base against him.
And just off the plate, crowd wanted it, Alba wanted it, but no good, says Steve Mattingly.
And especially given how wide that zone's been, you figure, especially today with this zone, that's strike 3. Got to get this one over though.
So the count will be full. Rafe Stanger running. Pitch is down for ball 4, and that's tough when you were up 0-2 to give up the walk.
Focus on the fact that you were up 0-2, not the fact that you walked him. Just settle down. Jaden is pretty good like that on the mound. He can be Mr. Cool. He doesn't let a lot of that get to his head. You really have to have that mentality when you start on a Sunday here, knowing that, you're going to give up some runs. You just have to maintain your mental toughness. That is Jaden Alba. Great pitch, and another one. That's 2 of those breaking balls that if you feel like they've landed, and he just missed him.
Yeah, and that can be really frustrating, especially when you've had some difficulties earlier on in the game, and especially when you've seen the zone can be a little wide. It's about the next pitch. Can he get the next one in there?
Careful here with Fitzsimmons. He can be a hitter if you throw at him. And I'm sure he's a little bit angry after the way his last at-bat ended. Had a chance to drive in a run in the first and didn't get it because he walked strike 3.
2-0 now. Fitzsimmons in the driver's seat. Takes strike 1.
Really need a strike here.
The difference between 3-1 and 2-2 enormous as a back pick over to second. Just keeping an eye on the runners there. We've seen some aggressive base running on both sides. We've seen some almost careless base running on both sides.
And a ground ball can get you out of this. That's what you should be focused on right now. Keep it low in the zone. See if he'll maybe gift you a little double play here.
And this is in 3-1 now.
This would be walk number 6 in less than 3 full innings if he can't pull a strikeout here.
Three-1 is going to be foul, out of play. That will be strike 2.
Hoping maybe that stayed in play and you get a free out there. A little too much on it. Another 3-2 here. Can Alba get it over this time? Was not close with that first batter.
Rafe Stanger on second, McMillan on first, Fitzsimmons in the box. With 1 out, the 3-2 from Alba is not close again, and they have walked the bases loaded. And this is high pressure on both sides. If you're Arizona State, you are very unhappy that you have gifted St. John's a bases loaded rally. And if you're St. John's, you need to get the hit here. You are not going to be given a better opportunity.
You don't want to hear that dugout if they can't get at least a run out of this. Minimum 1 run here.
Swing and a miss, strike 1.
There's the fastball. We've seen Jaden, he was like low 90s last year. It appears he's added a couple miles an hour on that. Spent some time with Jeremy Accardo in the offseason, probably strength coordinator Ted Henson too. Let's see a little bit more of that.
You know, one tried to put a little bit more on that one, yanked it a little bit.
It's all right.
Spaldino in on the grass at first base.
I like the strategy. They have not had a big hit this whole weekend. If they're going to get one, they're going to get one. Attack here.
1-1 offering. Drops it low, 2-1. Zavorik about even with the bag at third. Middle infield is back looking for the double play. But you need to throw strikes.
You would assume the corners are coming home with a ground ball here.
As that one's lifted in the air to right. Should be plenty deep enough to get a run home. Toigo will make the catch. Runners tag at second and third. They will both advance. And St. John's strikes first. It's 1-0.
That's the closest they've come to having a big moment this weekend. Credit to Fry there. He did a job.
And you know, that's a job they were not able to do.
Correct.
Games 1 and 2, runners at third, less than 2 outs. They were not able to get those runs home. They were striking out.
In other situations, maybe you complain about that. In the situation St. John's is in right now, that they have not had any hitting at all this weekend with runners on base, that's perfectly fine. Take the run.
This one's going to be chopped, charging Zavorik, and he won't be able to get it out of his glove. It'll be a second run for St. John's. It was going to be a tough play, but they're going to give him an error for that one.
That's a difficult play for Beckett. Should have been out of the inning. brings in another run, and still first and second here. You are not out of this by any stretch if St. John's can find a hit.
A hit that they have not had this inning. 3 walks, a sac fly, and an error have been how these 2 runs have come across. It'll be the number 8 hitter Manser here.
That's probably the part that Willie Bloomquist will be most angry with, is that they have not hit this weekend, and you have now invited them to score 2 runs. You did everything but put the runs on the board for them, and he is not a big fan, as you might imagine, of that. Especially as a former big league infielder, he's not a fan of anybody, but specifically infielders, making those mistakes that hurt Jaden Alba, who should have been out of that with 1 run allowed. That will be an earned run for Barrett, and Alba should have 1 as well. So he put him on with a walk there. But really, if we're going like we're scoring a little friendlier here, you could argue that wasn't an earned run.
Definitely.
Even though he put him on base, it wasn't his fault, runner scored.
And that will be a wave and a miss, and Arizona State will finally head back to the dugout. No hits for St. John's, but they get 2 runs and leave 2 on. Bottom of the 3rd coming up, it's 2-0 Red Storm.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth.
An ugly top of the 3rd inning for Arizona State. With 3 walks and an error, St. John's puts 2 on the board without getting a hit.
It's not a fun inning, but you have a chance to erase all that right now. It's only 2 runs. All of that, those, 7 hitters that came to the plate, it was only 2 runs. Could have been a lot worse. See what Brody Briggs can do, see what Kai McGarry can do, and then Landon. You got to get hitting here, though. This is obviously, St. John's just showed, all right, we're still not going to be crazy effective, but we're going to get runs in today.
As Briggs hits this one out toward left center field. And losing it in the sun is Rodriguez. And that's going to fall in. He just completely lost it.
It should still go down as a base hit, but it was really a difficult play out there for Luis Rodriguez. We just got the official confirmation. That's a base hit for Brody. What should have probably been a routine flyout, but Rodriguez lost it. Obviously, St. John's not used to playing in this Arizona sun. Set up very nicely for the first starting at bat in Kai McGarry's college career.
And you know, ASU gave a lot of opportunities to St. John's last inning. Credit to them, they were able to capitalize. Now can the Sun Devils capitalize here with getting a leadoff runner?
Kai had a great summer up in Alaska. We mentioned Alaska yesterday, how Willie Bloomquist likes to take his coaching staff up there and go on some retreats. And of course, he's had some great players go through there. Cole Carlone and Alaska League MVP playing 2 ways a couple years back.
That one way outside for ball 2.
The trend has kind of been start his guys there. Wyatt Halverson was there as well, and then maybe graduate them up to the Northwoods or the Cape League. It's a good spot to just focus on baseball, and I know it's a beautiful area. And Kai had a great summer up there. Learned a lot. Now just needs an opportunity. We didn't mention when Amanda was talking about him, he got drafted. Don't always see that. You know, ASU has lost some recruits to the draft the last couple years out of high school, but I'd be curious. I would have to go back and look. It's only 1 or 2 guys that, besides Kai, that have gotten drafted but chose to come here anyway. So he's a son to have a life.
Yeah, he takes ball 4 there. And a fly ball lost in the sun and a walk. Feeling very similar to the top of this inning. 2 on now, nobody out.
Feels very similar to how ASU scores runs just overall. You make 1 mistake and boom, it's first and second, nobody out.
And Landon strong top of this order.
Ever dangerous Landon Hairston is up. Big shift on for him.
Corners are in. Watching in case of a bunt. No sign after the first pitch.
It worked the first time, didn't it?
It certainly did. But with third baseman Rafe Stanger in, wide open left side.
Yeah, you have so many places you can go. You can hit it right at him, and he might not be able to make the play with being in for the bunt, or you could just hit it to where a shortstop would normally be.
And the 2-0 count, he is going to move back a little bit. Far off the line, though. And that one is nowhere near the zone. Bounced and went behind Landon Hairston. And that was worse than the other wild pitch.
The 3rd wild pitch between these 2 pitching staffs today. This is a lethal situation now. All that work you did for was St. John. 7 batters. You manufactured, you were patient, you walked, you forced the errors. You could lose all that on 1 swing here, which Landon Hairston is absolutely capable of giving you.
We've got some St. John's players running into the bullpen in left field.
Yeah, scrambling to start that. They don't keep the visiting bullpen guys out there usually because by design, of course, it's not covered. So you can't sit out there in the sun the whole game, obviously. Whereas ASU's guys have the nice performance center back there. They're under the shade. That bullpen at Phoenix Muni, for anything earlier than like a 4 o'clock start, is directly in the sun.
Yeah, and we're in February, but still almost 80 degrees at first pitch today.
Best weather of the weekend. It's gotten progressively better.
3-0, second and third, nobody out. The pitch to Hairston is not close. It'll also go to the backstop, and that'll be a run. And if we thought ASU was sloppy last inning, St. John's on a dropped fly ball, a walk, and 2 wild pitches has gifted ASU a run.
And the go-ahead run goes on. I'm not even sure how you analyze what's going on right now with Victor Frederick. This is the yips or something that he is just not right on the mound.
We saw him miss up arm side. We saw him miss down glove side. Something's up because you see on the replay, just nowhere near the zone. An easy score for Brody Briggs. And these just have not been close. No chance for Adam Agresti behind the plate.
Just waiting. If you're St. John's right now, you need to buy some time to get this bullpen going, but you're waiting. You got to assume Boutsaritis, Toigo, New, Smaldine, it's such a tough lineup. If you've built yourself a very difficult spot here after all that work you did to take the lead. ASU has done literally nothing in this inning. Brody should have flown out. Kai with the walk. Hairston with a walk. The runners all moved up through wild pitches. There should not be a run on the board right now. You could argue there should only be one base runner right now.
And even that, you could say that ball should have been caught.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's what I had said. There should be at least one out right now.
Yeah.
And either one or two walks.
And a strike in there. There is activity now in the St. John's bullpen.
PJ squared the ball up nicely last time. You should remember that if you're Rob Manzer there at short, he went right back up the middle, squared it up.
Ooh. That one also called for a strike, and 1-2. Nobody out, runners at the corners. The 1-2 from Frederick is way up, 2-2. And you gotta wonder if Landon Hairston at first base is thinking about taking off. With how Frederick's been pitching, he's really focused on just getting the ball to home plate.
Oh yeah, the ASU runners should have free reign here.
So this one is chopped foul up the first base line.
I'm a little surprised with nobody out. I know you don't want to run into outs when they're giving you everything, but I'm surprised that Landon, with all he did on base the last time, jumping around trying to create some motion, hasn't at least thought about taking off. I mean, the likelihood right now with the mental state of this battery, the likelihood that they're going to throw him out and not give up a run from third, come on.
As that one down and away, all three. Mutsuritas works the count full. So 3-2, we'll keep an eye on Hairston at first. He goes. Pitch is fouled back.
Good rip. Right on top of it. I like the strategy, though. You're not going to steal because you don't want to take the bat out of PJ's hands.
This will be the 8th pitch to Mutsuritas. Hairston goes. Pitch is grounded to short. No play at second, so the throw to first will be made. That's why you run. And ASU ties it right up. It's 2-2.
Well, they had the problem, remember, on yesterday. They had the problem where they tried to execute a hit and run and ended up getting themselves tossed right out of an inning. That was a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a rough situation yesterday. You send both runners and a line drive goes right at someone, but that's what you're hoping to happen when you put runners in motion. Could have been a double play, but with Hairston running, easily makes it in a second, and now you've still got a runner in scoring position for Toigo.
And out to play with here. He could, even if he flies out here, could still move a runner up.
And with how Frederick's been pitching, runner at third means a lot, even if there are 2 outs. This is outside there. I'll make it 2-0. Fouled away. 2-1 now. Hairston dancing off second. Pitch is in there for strike 2. So once again, just trying to be a thought in the back of Frederick's head.
That strike has been called pretty wide on the outside of the zone today. Haven't really seen a lot on the inside, but now it's starting to open up on the inside too.
This one will also be fouled away. This is two pretty long at-bats back-to-back. It was 8 pitches to Mutsuritas. This will be the 6th one to Toigo. This is down, and this is the 2nd full count in a row.
Not only have St. John's been making these mistakes this inning, but ASU has been allowing them to make these mistakes. They know this defense is something's out of whack with this battery too. They're not giving him any pitches for free. That's good.
And it's ball 4, and it'll be a 3rd wild pitch in the inning. Another one that just sailed on him, and they'll be at the corners with 1 out.
You have to start thinking about how quickly whoever's in the bullpen has been there for a couple minutes. You gotta start making a move here.
Yeah, we don't have eyes down there, but I believe it is Ian Mowat.
St. John's needs this game bad. They're 1-5. They lose this. 1-6. Don't play for another week, or rather until Friday of this week. They don't have a midweek. You have to start thinking about. Still only 2-2. Gotta protect this.
Still 2-2. You have 1 out. A ground ball could get you out of the inning for the Red Storm here. As that one's grounded, but it'll find a home into left field. A base hit. New Contrades gives ASU the lead.
Another timely single from New Contrades. Had one the other day and gets one here. He's been great this weekend hitting situationally, which we can't say about either one of these teams as a whole.
And that is the first real solid base hit in this 3rd inning where we've seen 5 runs score.
And even that, like, you don't want to discredit. It was a good job for New getting the hit and finding a spot. If Rob Manzer hadn't been shifted, is that a ground ball out?
It's just been a very weird 3rd. He was able to put it right where Manzer wasn't, which is what you need to do in those situations.
Their runs, they all count the same.
But man, has it been a strange inning. Dominic Smaldino now, still only 1 out, still 2 runners on base for ASU, 3 runs already in the inning.
And the question now for Mike Hampton is, how long do you want to wait? If you can't get out of this inning, are you just going to wait for ASU to have that big hit?
As that will also be a ground ball into center field, a base hit. And it's bobbled in center field by Legrand. And so Smaldino will be in 2nd. And it's 4-2 ASU.
It's what we were just saying. They waited and waited for Frederick to get right. He missed a couple pitches. He made a lot of mistakes, and ASU has found back-to-back hits now, and now you're down 4-2, and that lead is just going to continue to grow. Now 2nd and 3rd. How long do you wait before you make a move here? What did we see happen on Friday?
Can get very bad very quickly against this ASU team, and it looks like that will be the last pitch that Frederick throws.
It has to be, because a hit here makes it 6-2, and against this team, you can't assume you're going to be able to climb out of that. We'll see.
They have changed the ruling on that hit to a double. But we're going to have ourselves a new St. John's pitcher. We'll tell you all about him when we come back after this short break. Back here in the bottom of the third, Victor Frederick's day is done. He gives way to the new pitcher, Ian Moad.
Well, this is as difficult a situation as you can come in right now. Everybody's shaken up on your defense. They're making mistakes all over the place. And one bad pitch could result in this becoming a 2 or even 3-run extra lead. This game could be 6-2, 7-2 on one pitch. There is zero margin for error there. You've lost the double play ball now. This is becoming a very, very tricky situation for St. John's, who entered this inning with as much momentum as they'd had all weekend. They were up 2-0. They were feeling good. ASU were the ones trying to chase them. It's the first lead they've had all weekend, right?
That is true, yeah.
And things have just spiraled.
And it's been
very little because of Arizona State's doing, too.
It's been everything. It's been Rodriguez losing a ball to start the inning. It's been just absolutely terrible command from Victor Frederick, who is throwing the ball all over the map. And then even on that last play, they ruled it a double, but if you ask Legrand, he says he should have picked that clean and had a runner at first.
And ASU almost to batting around here.
So Garrett Michel, like you mentioned, he'll be the 8th man to come up this inning. The whole infield is in with an overshift as well. Second and third, 1 out.
Garrett hit really well on Friday. This is a dangerous guy to have up.
And that ball is hit high to left. There's wind, there's sun. Rodriguez will get it though. Tagging from third is Contradas. He will come home to score. And it's 5-2 Arizona State.
That in itself is an accomplishment, because remember, Rodriguez had problems with the sun the last time out there.
He didn't look particularly comfortable getting underneath that one, but he was able to haul it in. Michel does the job, gets the runner home from third, extends the lead up to 3, and the 9th man to bat in the inning, Beckett Zavorik.
Let's see if ASU can't get out of this with another run here. 5-2, great, but you get another one and you get that lead up to 4, man. You gotta feel pretty good. And now, that situation totally changes for Jaden Alba as long as he comes out next inning. You know, he left the mound, it was 2-0. Things were looking a little rocky. All he's got to do now is pitch like reasonably well the next couple innings.
Yeah, he gets to come out, he'll have a fresh inning, he'll have at least a 3-run lead. That one's lined foul.
I told you, I thought he's going to settle down. He's not really a bullpen guy. Only came out a handful of times last year. He's a starter. So if you can just get him the ball with a fresh slate, I think he'll be okay. Certainly hope so if you're ASU.
So this one's down the right field line. Fitzsimmons giving chase, but that'll be out of play.
Everybody clap your hands.
Lot of room in the alleys here. Legrand is like kind of cheating towards right.
This one's chopped slowly. This is going to be a tough play. Rafe Stanger's throw is not going to be in time. Zavorik beats it out for the infield single, and the inning will keep on going. Back to Briggs, who led this whole thing off.
And a power bat.
But it looks like it will be a pinch hitter. Sam Myers coming in.
Interesting move here, because this is your catcher spot. That means either Cohen or Cooper Klauser is going to have to come in.
Well, we mentioned the catching depth that this team does have, so they do certainly have the personnel to pinch hit here in the third.
You also wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that Alba's in the game now. They usually like to, with this rotation of catchers that Willie has been going through, he does like to match up pitchers and catchers. Maybe that had something to do with it. We won't know until postgame, but curious spot here. Good to get Sam Myers in at bat, though. He's in the same spot as Kai McGarry, just trying to fit in an outfield that's ridiculously talented. And he's had a couple starts already.
Swings and miss there to make it 1-1. So he will get the at-bat here with 2 outs. Zavorik at first, Smaldino at third. 5 across in the inning for Arizona State. This is the 10th man to come to the plate. Zavorik moves. This pitch is swung on and missed. They will fake the throw. Zavorik stopped in anticipation of the throw, but he will trot into second with a stolen base.
You were waiting to see when they were going to do that. Obviously, ASU refrained from that earlier in the inning because mistakes were being made. You didn't need to do it, but they did it a lot last year with first and third, and it worked a lot too.
Myers swings and misses for strike 3, and that will bring a long inning to a close. 5 across for Arizona State. They lead by 3 as we head to the 4th here on ESPN+.
Account, so get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth services.
Confidence boosting identity protection.
And clutch loan rate discounts.
Make my style your lifestyle.
At Mountain America Credit Union.
Back here at Phoenix Muni, 5-2 Arizona State, and for more about St. John's, we send it down to Amanda.
81, some of you may remember this is the greatest game in college baseball history, where St. John's Frank Viola went up against Yale's Ron Darling and had a pitcher duel. Darling threw 11 innings of no-hit ball, but Viola matched him until St. John's took home the game in the 12th inning. St. John's always been a prominent baseball school, but this is just one of those moments you have to give a nod to in history.
Very storied franchise, but have certainly not been living up to it today. A rough third inning on both sides. Jaden Albo looked to right the ship here and get just some normalcy to the baseball game.
That's normal for him. Saw that fastball in shades in that first inning that he came into. Seems to be a lot better, a lot more effective pitch for him than the breaking balls. And now he should just be able to attack. Good cushion for that lead.
So this one's grounded. Mutsuritas long throw, able to get there in time. Retires Tate to start off the inning. And after everything that happened last inning, a first out is very necessary.
Well, that's why PJ is pretty much the day-to-day starting shortstop for Arizona State. He can hit, yes, but his defense is so good. Even that play, a little bit tricky, deep in the hole. You know, the fast runner, you don't always know that you're going to get it over, but Jaden Alba can have a little bit more confidence. His defense is going to back him up.
As Rodriguez squares around a bunt, takes strike 1.
The most efficient inning anybody has had in this game was this weird second inning where only 3 batters came to the plate for Arizona State.
It's just been one of those days. A lot of weirdness.
The most normal inning of this baseball game featured a hard slide that broke up a double play and then a line drive that was dropped and turned into a 1-3 double play. That was the most normal inning we've seen on this Sunday.
As Alba, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, sends Rodriguez packing. And like you were talking about, fresh inning, he's able to get back to his normal self.
And that's the one thing St. John's just can't allow to happen. They can't allow him to work into a groove. If he's able to work into 3 or 4 innings here of minimal runners on base and just mowing batter after batter down, that's almost the end of the series. And I'm sure that was the thought from Willie Bloomquist bringing him in, is if Jaden can just work into a groove, Easton's start almost becomes irrelevant. It already has become irrelevant because any damage that was done has already been erased.
And, that's the goal as an offense, is to erase that 2-run deficit. They were able to do that, and so now it's Alba's job to just keep on pitching here as he faces John Legrand.
The 8, 9, and 1 hitters in this game, 0 for 7. Everybody else has gotten on base at least once.
It's just been a very strange game.
It's the bookends of the St. John's lineup. The top with Rodriguez, and then the 8, 9 spots with Manzer and Tate that have struggled. Everybody else has had their opportunities, but no one's had an opportunity in this inning against Alba.
Swung on and missed, strike 3, and Alba rights the ship with 2 Ks. He maintains the 3-run lead. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th on ESPN Plus. It's 5-2 ASU. Back here at Phoenix Muni, 5-2 Arizona State, and after just a wild 3rd inning, Aiden, a little bit of normalcy from Jaden Alba in the top of the 4th.
That's what ASU needed. The first team, I think, in this game to create normalcy was going to win it, and it appears ASU might be the ones to do that. The first ones that could put together a good defensive stretch are going to win this game, and so far so good for Jaden Alba. You almost erase that 3rd inning. That 3rd inning, he came in a difficult spot. He's not used to coming in out of the bullpen with runners on base. You almost excuse it and say, okay, now it's just a start. Now it's just wipe that slate clean, and hopefully the offense can back him up. You'd love to see Kai get hot.
He walked his last time up, then advanced on 2 wild pitches and scored on a fielder's choice. Certainly an exciting trip around the bases for him. Squares to bunt here, and that comes up and in.
Oh, did it get him on the bat?
Question is, did it get the bat? Definitely hit something, but looks like that will be strike 1.
But they just marked it a ball.
We'll have to see what comes out of this. But a pitch has been thrown.
How would that be possible for that to be a ball? That's either it hit him or it hit the bat.
It definitely hit something. You can hear it.
Okay. Add that to the list of weird stuff we've seen at Muni today.
It's just been an odd Sunday at the park. And we're not even halfway through this one. Well, it won't matter as McGarry just slaps that one into left field. He's got himself his first hit of the season.
How good is this ASU outfield? Kid who was picked out of high school in the Major League Baseball draft in the 20th round has not seen a lick of playing time, like starting time, outside of today. And yet he comes in and he produces.
That's the second time on, and just a solid piece of hitting.
Very
right
happy
through the hole.
for Kai. And he's coming up on another draft year next season. He's got to get some playing time.
He's gonna go on the first pitch. Throw down to second is a good one, and they got him. That was a great throw from Agresti behind the plate.
It was, but it was almost entirely down there that early because he hesitated. I don't know what happened there with Kai. It looked like maybe he was at first trying to draw the throw because he hesitated. He stopped and stuttered. Looked like maybe he was just trying to draw a throw, but then he takes off. I don't know what happened. Some of these wires have gotten crossed. That's not the first time that's happened with ASU on the bases either this weekend. They've had some strange base running that has cost them.
Yeah, a team especially that started out the year so well on the base paths. They were
ended last season too.
They were incredibly successful. They hadn't even been caught stealing, but just an interesting start as this one gets lofted out into left center field. Grand will make the play there. And 2 away now.
That changed very dramatically. He had a runner on and nobody out. Quickly shot yourself in the foot there. See what PJ can do. He's put it in play twice.
Had a hard line drive in the first inning. Got a run home on a ground ball in the third. Both hit to the shortstop Manser.
I think he totally got robbed in that first. That was a great piece of hitting.
Sometimes you hit it hard and there's just someone standing right there. He's got a 2-0 count here though. With 2 outs and nobody on. And it's 3-0.
Expect some more defensive changes, I think, as this game goes on. This is already PJ's third at bat. ASU going through the lineup for a third time here. St. John's is going through for a third time. Either the starters are going to get a lot of opportunities or they're going to empty their benches, which we saw a little bit at the end of the game on Friday.
This one's grounded to third. Rafestanger drops it, throw to first, safe! Not in time. And some more rough defense from St. John's, as Rafestanger just couldn't get a handle on that one.
Let's see where this is at on the replay. It looked like maybe he just got a little ahead of himself throwing the ball. Yeah, it took a little weird like roll up his wrist trying to transfer it.
And good job by Mutsuritas hustling out the box. Puts a runner on for Dean Toigo. That ball's hit high on the infield. Frey's covering his eyes and he will make the catch. And that will end the inning. 1 hit, 1 left for Arizona State. We'll head to the top of the 5th. They lead by 3 here on ESPN+. Top of the 5th. here in Phoenix. Arizona State with a 5-2 lead over St. John's. Jaden Alba back out for his second full inning of work here. He'll be facing the heart of the order, Rafe Stanger, McMillan, and Fitzsimmons.
They got to break up this run that Alba's on. 4 straight retired, which in this game is like mowing guys down.
4 straight retired, 3 of them by way of the K.
Yep.
He has definitely found his stride since a little bit of a rocky start.
Well, these are the guys to do it. These next 3, Rafe Stanger, McMillan, and Fitzsimmons, maybe not on hits, but they have 4 walks between the 3 of them and a hit and just 1 strikeout. So they're the ones who've gotten on most successfully.
First pitch from Alba is hitting to left field. On the move is going to be Hairston. It's going to fall in for a hit. And
good throw.
A long throw in. A very good throw, but into second with a leadoff double is Rafe Stanger.
It was a good throw from Landon, especially with, he didn't get a chance to, get any momentum behind it either. It was basically pure arm. It was just a little off the base.
Yeah, that's just a tough play. A ball that's slicing away from him from a left-handed bat ended up just inside the line. You can see on the replay here, he had to go a long way and just couldn't quite get there in the end, but good throws. He was falling away.
And he didn't want to, if he had dove for that ball, that's possibly 3 bases. So good conservative decision there. Just let it drop, and you almost threw him out. So it was the right call there. And hopefully Alba can work around this, just like his bullpen partners last night did.
So that was fouled back.
How many times last night did St. John's get that first or second guy on base and unable to come through on it? The bullpen has been real good about that this weekend. They have flirted with danger, but they have not quite had tons of issues.
1 is chopped to short. Mutsaritas, it bounces up on him. It'll drift into left field, and everyone will advance only 1 base. McMillan thought for a second about trying for 2, but down by 3. He'll be happy with runners at the corners here.
No official score yet as to whether that's a hit. That's an E6.
Given an E6 on that.
Even friendly Jeremy Hawk scoring next door, that's an E6.
Yeah, that is a tough play. He's coming in on the ball. It took a little bit of a bad hop on him, but if you ask PJ, he's going to say he should make that play, and he assumes he can make every play.
Even with the home scoring, that's an E6.
So they're at the corners now with nobody out. Jaden Alba needs to, looking for the strikeout here, obviously, but needs to minimize the damage.
Does St. John's try to cause some problems base running and send McMillan, or do they just say, I guess we'll trust our hitters here?
McMillan not running yet. This pitch bounced back past Jaden Alba. The throw from Mutsaritas is not in time. ASU infielders think that it might have been something. Willie Bloomquist wants him to talk it over. But if this stands, it is not good for Arizona State. And even if it doesn't, it's still second and third with only 1 out.
I think he got there.
Looking at the replay here, it's very tough to tell. You can't see when the ball gets to the back of the glove.
That's a difficult angle to tell from.
We will go to replay review, though. It'll either be bases loaded, nobody out for the Red Storm, or it'll be second and third and 1 out. That ball, just a slow roller, and Alba couldn't quite get to it quickly enough, went right under his glove.
You would think it's a hit if it goes down that he's safe. This is a sloppy baseball game.
And it's been rough on both sides, pitchers, catchers, fielders, base runners. Just an ugly game all around. And it's such a close play, and you're just not sure when the ball exactly hits the back of the glove.
I think it got to him maybe in time, but you can't tell if he squeezes the glove there.
call on the field is safe, so we need definitive evidence to overturn it.
So I'm told we don't have that third base camera to look at, but the officials obviously do. They have a whole nother set. Their cameras are not the cameras that we see. They see all of our cameras, but they also see some other ones that are around the ballpark. It's a nice little setup that first the Pac-12 and now the Big 12 have implemented for replay review. I think it's pretty good for the game of college baseball.
Yeah,
it's maybe slowed down games a little bit, but it's been helpful.
See another angle here. Oh. When does that ball hit the very back of the glove?
You know, I think he was out.
And ASU Live, they were quick to say, check on that. Yeah. You know, second baseman New Contrades, he was tapping his ears right away. And Willie Bloomquist even was very quick on the challenge itself. So in real time, ASU thought they definitely got him.
Our high home angle seems to say safe.
So,
but again, they have the angles. They're gonna get as good a look as they can get on this. This is just whichever team makes less mistakes or whichever team makes the mistake last is gonna lose this game, maybe.
It just seems like each team is just giving opportunity after opportunity. I mean, at least this inning had a double involved in it.
And he was so confident with ASU after that fourth inning that Alba had. Like, all right, he's going to restore order, hopefully.
And looks like we're getting the headsets off here. See what the call is. Steve Mattingly with the call. Safe is the call. Could have been just not enough evidence to overturn it. It really was a bang-bang play at first base.
And they'll go with a base hit there, despite Alba's attempt to get it. Man, here we go. Another tough opportunity for St. John's to do something here.
Bases loaded, nobody out. Aiden Frey, who had a sac fly in that third inning, takes strike one. He also had a walk in the second.
This team is 3 hits away from having won the series this weekend. You talk about, we sound like broken records talking about how they've just failed to come through. 2 or 3 more hits between today and yesterday, they could win the series. But they just haven't had that. And regardless of what happens here, I think ASU is going to feel very lucky to have either won or swept this series by the time this game is over.
And that's not a feeling you want to have with the opponents they have coming up.
It's good to win them. It was brought up multiple times in the presser last night that this was the kind of game, this was the kind of series that ASU did not win last year. And Willie had said many times it kind of hurt them seeding-wise down the stretch. That's the difference between a 2 or a 3. So a sweep is a sweep, or a series win is a series win, but you do have to take into account at least a little bit how you did it.
Pitch is down and away. 2-1 now.
Double E6 single. Is this maybe the most consistent the St. John's bats have been this weekend in consecutive order?
Swing and a miss, 2-2. And you know Alba's trying to get the strikeout here, but up 3, you're just looking for an out. A sacrifice fly wouldn't be great, but it's an out. A ball on the ground, you obviously want to see if you can get that double play. Smaldino in on the grass, Zavorik about even with the bag.
Trust that fastball, man. That's your pitch right now.
And this is chopped foul.
It's living in the mid-90s. It's exactly where you need it to be. The breaking pitches just either the hitters haven't bitten or they're not hitting their spots, but they haven't been nearly as good as the fastball here. That's got to be your pitch.
2-2 to Frey. Swing and a miss, he struck him out, and that's what he was pitching for.
4th in 3 innings for Jaden Alba. When he's good, he's good.
Certainly not out of the woods yet, but that is a very big first out to get. Means a double play can somehow get you out of this inning with no runs if you can get Adam Agresti to put it on the ground.
Agresti has gotten on twice, had that single and then the error. He's found ways on. He'd love to do that here.
Alba starts him off slow. Get a swing and a miss for strike 1.
That's how you work a rhythm with Jaden Alba. Jeremy Accardo calling pitches down there. Set up that fastball and then you mix in the change and the breaking stuff.
As this one's hit high into left center field. McGarry seems to have a beat on it. He does. He will make the catch. Tagging at third is Rafe Stanger. He will score. 2 outs in the inning, but it's 5-3 now.
Given how this inning started, 1 run, definitely considered a win for everybody in that Arizona State dugout.
Anytime you have bases loaded, nobody out, if you can get out of it with 1, that's huge. But if you're St. John's and you can make this a 1-run game or even tie it up, if you can finally get that hit you've been needing, the momentum will be back in your dugout. Alba's first pitch drops in there for strike 1. One is grounded to the right side. Contreras has it. He'll throw it to first, and that'll do it for the inning. They loaded the bases with nobody out, but only 1 run across. Arizona State still up by 2 as we're halfway through here on ESPN+.
So get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth services.
Confidence boosting, identity protection.
And clutch loan rate discounts.
Make my style your lifestyle.
At Mountain America Credit Union.
Back here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, it has been a very interesting day, but through 4.5, ASU has themselves a 5-3 lead. New Contreras to start the bottom of the 5th inning, and to tell you all about it with the play-by-play, Aiden Blanc.
Eric Matsumoto, interesting is an understatement. We've seen some weird Sunday games the last bunch of years here at Phoenix Muni. It is a weird day for baseball, but this is right up there with the weirdest. Weird bounces, weird plays. We'll see what this back half has in store for us. 2-run lead for Arizona State. They win this. They are 7-0 for the first time since 2019 when they won 21 consecutive games with a little guy named Spencer Torkelson on this team. Nobody has a play, and the ball drops foul down the right field line.
And the right fielder, Fitzsimmons, never saw it. Arms were in the air the entire time. He had no idea where that ball was.
Fitzsimmons, McMillan thought he might have a play, and then Fry was there as well. It's a long strike 2 for New Contradas, who had a big knock his last time aboard. Single and an F8. The Flying Hawaiian. Battled injuries his first couple years. Is hoping that not only is he fully healthy this year, but he has a good enough year that it ends in professional baseball. Which it very well might. There was even thought that even with the injuries, he could get drafted this past season or picked up as an undrafted free agent. But no, he comes back and brings a little senior experience here. That's his second hit of the day. Squeaks under the glove of Rafe Stanger. And he's got back-to-back base hits.
Yeah, both when there were runners on bases last time up and here to start off the inning. Just a hard ground ball that finds a hole. He's not trying to be the hero, just trying to find some grass.
Puts up Smaldino going for a 3-hit day. Significantly better day with the bats for ASU. They did not hit the ball very much yesterday. Didn't walk a lot. Manufactured 3 runs, and for the first time in a very long time, manufacturing 3 runs was enough for Arizona State.
Yeah, speaks a lot to what this pitching staff is, what this pitching staff has become. I mean, Willie Bloomquist talked about it, being able to compete in those low-scoring games.
Smaldino out to center. LeGrand has a play for the first out. Even that ball had some pop to it. He's had good swings today. And sets up Garrett Michelle. Had an RBI in the F9 he had last time aboard up at the plate, but hasn't quite had that hit. Though he's had a few of them in the Sun Devil uniform. This appears to be a good spot for him to kind of reinvent himself as a college baseball player. Hard hit ball off the glove of the shortstop Manzer. First to third goes New. If they rule it a base hit, which they will, that's a good one for Garrett Michelle, his first hit of the weekend.
And ASU just getting bat to ball and hitting it hard. That was a big thing Willie Bloomquist talked about, was getting solid contact early on in counts, laying off of breaking balls out of the zone, weak contact, really just trying to square the ball up early on in counts if you have the opportunity. And we've seen 2 very hard hit ground balls here in the 5th.
I should correct myself. He had 2 hits in the opener, including a double, so that's his 3rd hit of the weekend. He has done nothing but hit in his 2 appearances this weekend. Jam shot, and it drops down at short. Manzer's going to get the force out, but my goodness, another mistake. That should go down as an E6.
Ball seemed Manzer seemed to just not know where that ball was going. I don't know if it had a little bit of funk on it, but I mean, it ended up being an out nonetheless. Absolutely nothing you can do if you're Garrett Michelle there, except stand and watch yourself have to go back to the dugout.
That was Beckett Zavorik. Goes down as a fielder's choice, actually. He'll be on first. The scorebook's getting a workout today, at least.
Certainly hearing a lot of official scorers' decisions up here in the booth.
If you like the voice of Jeremy Hawks, you're hearing that. First and third again. And again, ASU able to do that successfully, getting Zavorik down to second.
Getting some nice boost to his stolen base numbers today.
Well, that won't go down as a stolen base necessarily. That'll be defensive indifference. But either way, it's second and third, and a near chance for an RBI. It's pulled foul. This is Cohen Nieglad, by the way. He came in defensively. Remember, Briggs got pulled. Sam Myers came to hit that one at bat last time. So Briggs actually didn't get an at bat. And Sam Myers had that single. I beg your pardon. Brody Briggs had the single to start last inning. Sam Myers was the one who came in the second spot of that lineup. A pop-up behind the plate. It's caught. F2. So 3 different guys have hit in that spot, and only one has a hit. 5-3. We go to the 6th. Arizona State on top here on ESPN+. You're hearing Gloria Gaynor on the Phoenix Municipal Stadium PA with I Survive, and that's exactly what one of these two teams is going to do here on Sunday. With all the errors and mental lapses that we've seen between these two teams, Arizona State and St. John's, one of them is going to survive and get the win. Right now it's looking like the Sun Devils, who will go back to the bullpen, and it's Taylor Penn who makes another appearance after a little bit of work last season.
Yeah, he's coming in to just try and, again, keep some normalcy, because despite all the weird things that happened, this is still a very close game. And if you're Arizona State, this is a win that you need to be able to lock down.
Taylor Penn is a guy that can go in just about any spot. He had 4 starts last year at Western Kentucky in 14 appearances. Finished 3-1 with a 3.48 ERA. So he possibly could hit you up in some midweek starts later on in the season, but obviously right now his role has been the bullpen. A bit of a rough outing his first time out. Gave up 2 earned runs and 3 hits in 2 innings, including a homer in that midweek against UConn. So he's looking for a redo on his Sun Devil debut, if you will. Faces 9-1-2, starting with Jack Tate. This game has seen 8 runs, 13 hits, and 3 errors between these two.
3 errors, and you could almost argue that's generous.
Absolutely. Could easily be 5 or 6 right now. Ball in 2 strikes. As Penn overpowers one. Tate, couple of groundouts. He's 0 for 2. He's had an at-bat every other inning in this game. 2nd, 4th, and now the 6th. That's going to be his first hit. It lays up there on Kai McGarry in center. And the 9-hitter, Tate, able to reach for the first time and turn this lineup over. A 4th at-bat here for Luis Rodriguez, the leadoff man. He's 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. They have not had a lot of production out of him at the top of the order. In fact, Rodriguez and Legrand 1 and 2. Now a combined 0 for 5 with just that 1 walk Legrand had back in the first.
Yeah, it has not been a fun day for Rodriguez. He has 2 strikeouts. Only contact he made was a foul out to Smaldino at first base. Lost a ball in the sun. He's just hoping to get out of here.
Rodriguez, Maris transfer. A lot of experience, 104 games in his seasons there. Ball and a strike.
But I think by far the best, like, only shit scene was when they're at, like, the kitchen table or whatever, and the red face was just over his shoulder.
Tate's on first. He led off this inning with a single. Another square from Rodriguez. He pops it up and he bunts it right back to the mound. Quick out for Taylor Penn. Rodriguez got way underneath that pitch, and it's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, the two things you don't want to do when squaring to bunt is bunt it foul and bunt it up. He bunted it foul and then he bunted it up. Just underneath it goes way up in the air. I mean, Penn, he crashed in and then ended up having to take a step back.
So it's LeGrand, still searching for his first hit this weekend. Though he's had some walks. Trying to move Tate up there at first base. Mutsuritas, the shortstop, almost even with the bag at second, behind the bag, that is. Another wide strike there from Taylor Penn. It's 0-2.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these extreme overshifts. Mutsuritas is technically on the third base side of second, but still a wide open traditional shortstop position if LeGrand could put it over there.
0-2 is low. Talked about needing strike throwers out of the ASU bullpen after all those early walks. Well, Penn only walked 5 last year in 31 innings with 25 Ks. So he pitched to contact a little bit. But in this game, that'll do. He was able to hit the zone. In that start against UConn, he did have 1 walk in those 2 innings, but had 3 strikeouts. Of the 10 batters that he saw. Ball and 2 strikes on LeGrand. Fighting to stay alive.
Everybody clap your hands.
And again, it's only a 2-run game here. A big hit from LeGrand puts St. John's right back into the ability to tie it up or even take the lead this inning.
LeGrand is the tying run. Pitch just off the outside. Count has gone from 1-2 to 2-2. He is the tying run with, on paper, the ability to tie this game. Just hasn't quite shown that this weekend. That's his first hit of the week. A little base knockout to Hairston in left. And now the go-ahead run to the plate for St. John's.
We talked about the overshift that ASU had, the traditional shortstop position wide open, just punched it right through there, took what the defense gave them, and St. John's in business once again here. Go-ahead run now at the plate.
And it's the middle part of this order, 3, 4, and 5, who have combined only been set down once, starting with Rafe Stanger. 2 walks to start the day, a double in his last at-bat. He scored 2 runs. This is a dangerous, dangerous group to have up with 2 on and 1 out in Taylor Penn's first inning of work. The all-conference third baseman last year spoils a ball.
He seems to be using that left side a lot. His double came down the left field line, and also ASU, similar overshift. Mutsuritas a little bit farther over, but definitely a lot of space in the gaps.
Sun Devils want 7-0. St. John's just wants to get to 2-5. They've had a tough opening 2 weeks, and it's not getting easier next week with 3 at Kentucky. They don't go home until March the 6th, and that's if they can clear all the snow that's already there and is about to come in this weekend. We don't even know if they're going to be able to get home tonight with all the weather that's supposed to come up and down the East Coast. 2-1. A tip into the glove of the catcher Nikolai. It's 2-2.
And it's been a very just frustrating start for St. John's because their pitching's been giving up walks. They haven't been able to get hits in situations like these. I mean, in their minds, they probably should have 3 or 4 wins at this point.
2-2, poked on the ground at third. It's knocked down by Zavorik. They turn the double play. There's a little strong defense from Arizona State. They keep this lead going bottom 6. 5-3 Devils here on ESPN+. Well, Arizona State able to squeak out of that last inning with a 5-4-3 double play. Keep that slate clean. And he'll face a new arm as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Before we introduce him, here's Amanda.
Aiden and Sunny out here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, and you know the Johnnies are happy to be away from some of that winter weather they're dealing with in Queens, New York. They actually won't be back until March 6th for their home opener. When they left, their stadium was under 4 inches of snow, and they still have to go up the likes against Kentucky and Penn State, and these long stretches on the road can really be exhausting for a team.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a lot more than 4 inches by the time that St. John's returns. We kind of hit on it last inning, this big blizzard that's supposed to come through New York, New Jersey, Connecticut this weekend. Again, we'll probably be lucky just to get out of here on a plane tonight with all the airport closures. So they go to the bullpen again. Dylan Johnson, a senior, comes in to throw. He's had some injury issues, had Tommy John and missed all of 2024, but came back nicely in 23 games last year. ERA was 8.76, so a little high. He gets some action in the series finale here today. His only other outing this season, 2 1/3 last weekend against Minnesota. 1 earned run and 2 hits with just that 1 home run is a pretty good line for St. John's given how they've struggled on the mound. Like that maybe to be repeated, only a little bit cleaner here. He's facing Kai McGarry to start the 9th inning, or to start the 6th inning.
Not quite there yet, Aiden.
We are far from there. Lord only knows what kind of twists and turns this game could take before we get to its conclusion. The 0-1 is low.
Yeah, and Moad, who came in relief, we didn't talk about him that much, which today is pretty good. In the end, he goes 2 2/3, gives up 4 hits, and the big thing, 0 walks. He put the ball in the strike zone. ASU got some hits off him, but he forced him to swing the bats, which is definitely what St. John's was looking for.
The first collegiate start for Kai McGarry, the most at-bats he's had in a game in college, going pretty well so far. Walking a run in the third, single in the fourth, and nearly had a stolen base. I think Willie Bloomquist would be the first to tell you he's going to get thrown out. That's a very rare occurrence. You'd like him to keep testing the bases with the speed that he has. One of the fastest recruits in the history of Arizona State baseball, which goes back a very long time. Gets it left side. Rafe Stanger cuts it off. McGarry beats it out at first. There's that speed. Kai is flying down the line, and he legs out an infield single. That's a two-hit day in his first college start.
Yeah, and great work there. He earned that single himself. A high chopper, and he was racing out of the box. Rafe Stanger went over, and in the end, he did beat it by just a hair. Umpires are going to talk about it, and it looks like we do have a St. John's challenge.
Another one that's close. First one was opposite situations, and Arizona State did not get the out call. They're hoping they get a safe call here, or at least get it to be upheld.
Yeah, same as before, call on the field is safe, but this is a big play. It's a two-run game, getting that kind of speed on the bases to start off the inning with Hairston and Mutsaritas due up. You definitely want it to be upheld if you're Arizona State, and if you're St. John's, that'd be a big first out to get. A very, very close play at first base.
It's close. Good to have that extra bag. The second year that we've done that in all of college baseball, having that double first base. Kai goes to the green. It was orange, I think, at one point last year.
I believe it used to be, yeah, switched it over.
And the first baseman, McMillan, has the white bag. It's been good. It's been, I think it's been one of the better rule changes that we've seen. What a debut for Kai McGarry. He has a 6'5", 60-yard dash. That's the 99th percentile. They track outfield velocity. He has a 94 outfield velo. That's 98th percentile.
Speed doesn't slump.
He is a speed demon. Whether this call goes his way or not, it was either an infield single because of him, or it was a heck of a lot closer than it would have been with a lot of other players because of him.
Yeah, I mean, that was a ball that Rafe Stanger picked up. He was on the grass of the infield when he picked it up. It was not a particularly long throw, and at the very least, McGarry made it close. We'll see now if he actually did beat it out.
What does Steve Mattingly have for us? Second review of this game. He's going to make us wait just a little bit longer. It was actually the third base umpire, Angel Campos, who says Kai gets that single. That's a two-hit day in his first college start. All the hitting we've seen from ASU. Kai might be the star of this game when it concludes.
And you wonder if you'll see him go again. Speedsters don't like getting thrown out, so we'll keep an eye on him over there at first base.
You know that they're watching. But sometimes even when you're watching Kai McGarry, you still can't get him. That's part of the McGarry experience. Big shift on for Hairston. And really cool to have him hitting behind McGarry. If you could say Hairston's hitting behind anybody in the leadoff spot. But when Lando hits, that's good to have McGarry on. A good combo of Hairston at the plate and McGarry on the bases. Hairston is single, that little bunt single feels like ages ago in the beginning of this game. Then walked, scored a run in the third, and flew out in the fourth. Matching up with Dylan Johnson. He's had an interesting start to his afternoon. Gets out, gets his first batter. Thought maybe he had a ground out. With a lot of other hitters, it probably would have been, but then has to sit and wait. Now gets back onto the mound. This ball poked left side, rolls off the arm of Rafe Stanger. McGarry, of course, goes first to third. And that duo, Landon and Kai, put themselves onto the corners with nobody out for Mutsaritas.
Yeah, McGarry was on the move on that pitch, and good job, good awareness to have. He heard the contact, he watched where the ball went, so he wasn't sliding or anything. He was running straight through second base, and not a lot of guys are getting to third on a ball that just squeaks into left field. But you see McGarry, he was running the whole way, and he makes it into third with a slide, and now they got him at the corner. Nobody out for PJ Mutsaritas.
Hairston will get a single, deservedly so. That ball was hit far against the shift. It was a tough play for Rafe Stanger to make. And so it's Landon on first, Kai on third, and PJ at the plate. Big opportunity for the Cal transfer, who's 0 for 2, but did get on with an error back in the fourth.
We'll keep an eye on Hairston at first again. They've done twice sent Zavorik in first and third situations. Curious what'll happen with Hairston.
He hits it a mile high down the line. If it's fair, it's gone. And it's wide of the foul pole. That is a tough, we'll give Angel Campos credit there. That's a tough call to make. First of all, just sitting at third, you're far away from it. And second of all, the ball went over the foul pole, so you didn't really have a lot to go on.
Yeah, that was a ball that was just hit so high. If it'd been a little lower, it might have gotten out, because it definitely started fair, but just kept hooking. And in the end, just a very long strike one.
Yeah, Campos had to extend that foul pole up into the air to make that judgment. It's a difficult call to make. Second shot here for Mutsaritas. He'll go right back up the middle and bring in another run. Sun Devils get back up 3 on the bat of Mutsaritas. It's 3 consecutive hits to start the 6th inning off the St. John's bullpen.
And this is the kind of hitting we expected from Arizona State. Not relying on the long ball, being able to string together hard contact, looking for the pitches that they want. You had, obviously, McGarry's speed got the first hit, but then a sharp ground ball by Hairston, a sharp ground ball by Mutsaritas, and that's how the run gets manufactured.
Sun Devils had 3 runs on 5 hits last night. We are still in the 6th inning today. They have 6 runs on 12 hits. And yes, they have gotten help with walks and errors and wild pitches, but let's not discredit what the bats have done today. Not necessarily like the loudest contact. I think you're used to on a 12-hit day with Arizona State seeing balls just flying all over the yard. There's been a lot of, medium, well hit, just ground balls that have found the spaces, and that's good enough. Dean Toigo looking for his first hit now, having walked back in the 3rd. And this crowd's starting to get antsy, because you sense with the way ASU has begun this inning, it's maybe a time for them to start pulling away. This is how they did it on Friday, only an inning later. 5 runs in the bottom of the 7th. The game was all but decided at the end of that inning. Could they do that in the 6th here? Toigo comes up swinging. That's 4 straight hits. Hairston gets the wave. Throw won't even get to the plate. It's 4 straight for the Devils, and Dean Toigo joins the RBI group.
Yeah, we're seeing aggressive swings, but swings on pitches they want to hit. That's what Willie Bloomquist talked about, was swing early if it's your pitch. Toigo takes that right through the right side, and now every spot in the ASU order has a hit. Obviously, the 8th spot has had 3 guys in it, so they don't all have hits, but 1 through 9 has produced tonight for Arizona State.
And And as good as everybody has been, besides McGarry, it's that number 4 spot, New Contradas, who's been most productive. Couple of base hits and a run scored. And they won't even allow Dylan Johnson to face him because St. John's knows that New Contradas could almost end this game on one swing if you throw him the wrong pitch. Johnson comes out, 7-3 Devils. You get the sense they're a swing or two away from opening the floodgates on this Sunday at Phoenix Muni. We'll take a break. Back in a moment here on ESPN+. Evan Hoagley next out of the pen for St. John's. They're kind of emptying the pen on this Sunday, just trying to find someone that could stop these ASU bats. 4 consecutive hits to start the 6th inning to add to their total. They now have 13 on the day.
Yeah, we talk about how this ASU lineup, once they start stringing things together, it can get rough very quickly. So turning on Hoagley now to try and stop the bleeding in what is still an achievable game at 7-3 with 3 innings left, but dangerously close to getting out of hand.
This is Hoagley's 2026 debut after throwing just 5 2/3 total last year and a 17.47 ERA. Gave up 11 earned runs in that time frame. So a messy season, looking to rebound this year. The New Jersey native is. He was good in high school, 1.41 career ERA over at Bernard's High School. Righty has a difficult challenge in front of him with New Contradas, Dom Smaldino, and potentially Garrett Michelle. Some real hitters for ASU in the heart of the lineup.
Yeah, getting thrown into the fire here. Runners at the corners, nobody out, and big bats coming up for ASU.
It's gotten to the point the last 4 years that when you hear that slow, rhythmic Hawaiian music at Phoenix Muni, if you're an opponent, you know trouble's coming. That's all New Contradas has been in this game. 2 for 3. A run scored on 2 singles. He comes up first pitch swinging. He lofts one in the air out to left. Rodriguez under it. They do not send PJ Mutsaritas, who stands at third. That was a little bit shallow for a tag, but that's okay. First out of the inning. That took a while. 5 batters just to get that one out.
But that's a big out for Hoagley.
Yes.
Season debut, going up against a tough lineup that is really hot in this inning. Being able to get that out and get it quickly as well helps him settle in. Now he's got to face Smaldino.
Smaldino has 2 hits himself. Single and a double in his first 2 at-bats, then flew out in the 5th. He's got Toigo and Mutsaritas out there to try and drive in. ASU has seen something in this inning that they have come up first pitch swinging a lot. Nobody has sat back and waited. Maybe it was that first batter, Kai McGarry, legging out the infield single, who sparked some juice into this lineup. But whatever it is, they've come up looking for pitches to hit. And St. John's has certainly given it to them. 2-0 here on Dom.
Yeah, And St. John's with the big overshift on the left side for Smaldino, but we've seen him go the opposite way. I mean, especially with power, his homer in game 1, deep into right field, but just a wide open right side.
95 and chest high, he takes a strike. This is a long time for Taylor Penn to be sitting in the dugout. You wonder if he gets another inning. There doesn't appear to be action in the ASU bullpen. That hits Smaldino. Might have gotten a piece of Mattingly at the plate too. But the base is now loaded for ASU for the first time this entire weekend. They've loaded the bases. And what an opportunity this is for the former Hokie. Garrett Michelle has been excellent this weekend with 3 hits in 2 starts. Get another look at that hit by pitch. This could be a nail in the coffin kind of moment if he can put a good swing in it. He's back in the box and spoils the first pitch.
And Michelle in game 1, he was the one that really got the hitting going with runners on base. He had that double down the left field line that drove in a run. And so certainly a guy you want up here with the bases loaded.
Another one fouled back. Hoagley had a tendency last season to give up big hits. 2 doubles and 3 home runs in the 5 2/3 that he pitched. He's avoided that so far. But the inning far from over. 0-2.
Good stop back there from Agresti. He certainly had to work tonight, especially against the starter Frederick.
Smaldino on first. Toigo on second. Mutsaritas is out on third. A lot of ducks on the pond for Garrett Michelle. 1-2. That's been a strike a lot of the afternoon, but it misses inside and Michelle stays in the count. Now the 2-2. And good patience from the DH. Michelle drives this count full from down 0-2.
Yeah, and even in this situation, you still have to come in if you're Hoagley. You cannot walk in a run. You got to make Michelle swing the bat, and if you're Michelle, you got to know that and be ready.
Payoff. And he does walk in that run. Merry-go-round begins. Come on in, PJ Mutsaritas. Toigo off to third, Smaldino to second. Michelle has himself a walk, his 3rd trip on today.
Next, number 2, Beckett Zavorik.
And now it's Beckett Zavorik trying to deliver. With 1 out in the 6th and a lead that is ballooned up to 5 for Arizona State.
There is more activity in the St. John's bullpen. Looks like Thomas Harding out there.
Corners are in, and Beckett takes a breaking ball. He's been on twice, had a single back in the 3rd. Had a great hit ball in the 2nd that was dropped over at first base that turned into that double play. He rolls one fair down the left field line. It's squeezed in and brings home a couple Sun Devil runners. Toigo scores, Smaldino is in as well. Michelle to second, or to third rather. And Beckett Zavorik with his 2nd hit of the day. It's an RBI, a 2 RBI double.
This is the kind of offense that Willie Bloomquist wanted to see. Consistent hits throughout the inning, still had patience to get walks. He really did just barely tuck that down the 3rd base line, but now it's a 5-run inning and still opportunity for the Sun Devils to add on here.
Second inning in this game in which Arizona State has sent at least 9 to the plate. They sent 10 in the third, and it appears that Hokuley's day is done, preparing to face this catcher spot that'll be Koen Nikolai. Maybe just waiting to give the bullpen a little more time to warm up in a game that's now +7. We were told pregame that St. John's has not decided if they're going to try to get out of here tonight yet, so there may not be so much urgency from them. Usually there is on a Sunday with an East Coast team, certainly should be, but again, with all that weather, they may not have that flight to try and catch. It appears that Hokuley stays in for at least one more batter, and that batter will be Nikolai. This spot started with Brody Briggs. He had a single. Then Sam Myers had a strikeout in the same inning. And then Nikolai's first appearance in the 5th was a foul out to the catcher. Michelle Zavorik, both out there. 9th batter of the inning, the Oregon transfer, Nikolai, who takes the 1-0 to the right side. It's going to be a tough play. Fry shuffling over. He gets it, but the run comes in. Michelle makes it 11-3.
That ball definitely had some funk on it. With everything we've seen tonight, a play like that is very big to just get an out. And at this point, Arizona State has ballooned this lead. 6 runs across this inning. They're up 8. Be interesting to see if we possibly start seeing some of the replacements come in on either side, similar to how we did in game 1.
Sun Devils have batted around again. Here's Kai McGarry. Remember way back in the beginning of this inning when Kai McGarry got everybody moving with that, what should have been probably a 5-3 put out, that he legged out into an infield single, and from there, 3 other singles followed. And a couple batters later, the Sun Devils are right back here, leading by 8.
Yeah, no telling what that did for the momentum of this game, to be able to give Arizona State that leadoff runner, that speed on the base paths, and just the confidence to keep on swinging at this inning.
Kai has a walk and 2 hits. Nobody has set him down today. 3-0. He works a walk. Second walk of the day, but his 4th time on base.
Up next, number 3.
First college start, he has been outstanding.
Nothing more you can ask for from him. He's done a great job getting on base. He's a guy, obviously, who you want on first to have that speed. And it looks like that'll be the last batter that Hokuley faces. They'll bring in the lefty to face Hairston.
And they will not let him get back to the top of this lineup. We'll take a break as St. John's goes back to the bullpen here in the 6th inning. Floodgates have opened here on Sunday in the desert. 11-3 Arizona State about to send their 11th batter of the inning to the plate, and he will face Thomas Harding, Long Islander out of Massapequa. The lefty making his second appearance of the year, having gone an inning and a third with an earned run last weekend against Stetson. This game is quickly going out of hand for St. John's. They just need to get back to the dugout.
Yeah, at this point, they're just looking for out number 3, any way that they can get it. Harding's job is to just find a way to get them into that dugout. He's got Hairston, then possibly Mutsuritas and or Toigo. And Arizona State, it's just, we've finally seen the consistent hitting from them that we were looking for, frankly, all series. Even that big inning that they had in the 7th inning of game 1, it was a lot of walks and then the one big swing from Contreras. They really haven't had an inning where they've been able to string together hit after hit after hit until here in the 6th.
Now batting number 3, Landon Hairston.
It's a tough spot to come in. Landon Hairston, 2 hits on the day. First one was that bunt single in the first inning, but had a much cleaner one earlier this inning. We don't know if the coaches agreed to a mercy. If there is, Landon could theoretically, I guess they would go to the 7th, but could get him in the mercy spot on one swing. A lot of space left side for Hairston.
And he went that way earlier this inning, a hard grounder, just ate up Rafestanger.
Smashes one in the air, out towards right. Fitzsimmons will give way to LeGrand, and mercifully this inning comes to an end for St. John's. But the Sun Devils send 11 to the plate and come back with 11 on the scoreboard. 7th inning is next, and the Devils +8 on this Sunday afternoon.
Account, so get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth services.
Confidence boosting identity protection.
And clutch loan rate discounts.
Make my style your lifestyle.
At Mountain America Credit Union.
Well, the Sun Devils have a tendency to spiral runs. When they get one, they usually can get 2 or 3 more, and in this case, they had 6 in the 6th, and they've taken an 11-3 lead into the 7th inning. Wyatt Halverson is on. Surprising that Willie Bloomquist has gone to one of his main arms in an 8-run game, but he wants to make sure this game gets locked down. Local products, son of a former Sun Devil, and of course, In his draft year, it's a big one for Wyatt because his numbers haven't quite shown how much he's improved over the last 2 seasons. He's really gotten better. He's become one of the biggest arms out of the bullpen. He should at least get some looks from Major League Scouts, but he's got to have the numbers this season to do that. And we'll see what he's up to here in the 8th inning. At this point, should be in cruise control with an 8-run cushion against the St. John's team that has just given away too many opportunities this weekend and allowed Arizona State to roll on this Sunday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long Willie Bloomquist wants him to go. Does he only want him to go 1? Does he want him to go a few? Could also depend on how this first inning goes.
Starts off with McMillan. He is the only one of these Johnnies that is yet to be set down today. Single walk E6 to get him on.
Yeah, McMillan and Rafestanger in front of him. Really good day overall for the two of them. Big reason why St. John's, I mean, they've scored all 3 of the runs. But the rest of the lineup just not quite able to string together enough for a rally, and then obviously last inning really blew it open.
This is the exact way, if ASU can keep this offense going, of course, that you wanted to finish this weekend. As big a week as you've got coming up, which you don't want to focus on yet, but you're getting close to that point. You needed a good, strong finish to this weekend, and it appears that that's what Arizona State is going to do. And the question will be, in their first road trip of the season, can they pick up some wins against 5 opponents from, maybe we shouldn't say this at a Big 12 game, the strongest conference in college baseball, that would almost certainly give you RPI help down the stretch. Whichever of those 5 games you win.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State. It really shouldn't matter which of those games you win. If you win any of those games, your RPI will shoot through the roof, let alone if you were able to win 2, 3, maybe even 4. And those teams have had some trouble. Tennessee lost yesterday to an unranked opponent. 4-3 putout. And McMillan is set down to start the 7th.
Yeah, that's the thing about college baseball. Every single game matters for where you're going to be seated in the postseason, for how things are going to look. Willie Bloomquist obviously talked about it in reference to some of the earlier non-conference games that they were unable to win last year, but it certainly matters for any wins that you can pick up against some of those tougher teams.
First pitch in on Fitzsimmons for a strike. I believe it's SEC Plus that'll have the games this week, and then Flow Sports over the weekend for those games in Arlington. ASU has the early Friday start at 11 a.m. local time. Then the next 2 days they'll play later on. Went down there and faced similar competition with TCU and A&M 2 years back. Did not win any of them, but played good baseball. And then, of course, upset last year in their first game in Arlington that nearly knocked them out of the tournament against BYU. So they are a combined now 0-4 at games in that ballpark. Would certainly like to reverse that. They will not be back for the Big 12 tournament this year. That'll be local, or at least more local than Arlington, out in Surprise. It's going to be hot. Maybe give ASU an advantage of sorts playing in that environment. It won't be any different temperature-wise than Phoenix Muni the last couple weeks of the season. Excited to see that tournament go down. As we said, BYU, the 12 seed, made a run last year that not a lot of people saw coming, and was very good baseball in this conference. That's a big strikeout from Halvo. If you're going to use him in this situation, you hope he does well, and that's exactly what he's done. The first 2 batters he's seen set down.
Yeah, the reason he's in is to keep this game as uninteresting as possible. It's been a day of just crazy things happening all around, so you want him to come in, you want him to be himself, and so far he's gotten 2 outs.
There's a big strike on Aiden Fry. It's been a crazy day around college baseball. Already today, Coastal Carolina drops one by 11 to Illinois. Purdue hands Oregon State a loss. Did Kent State win that series against Tennessee? I think they did. So that's a Tennessee team that they have a midweek on Wednesday, but will come to Arlington angry.
You just never know in baseball.
1, 2, 3. Halvo sets him down in his 6th, including 2 strikeouts to end it. Sun Devils are rolling. We go bottom 7 here at Phoenix Muni. All set, bottom 7 here at Phoenix Muni. The Sun Devil offense has woken up at the tail end of this weekend, 11-3. And they will come back up with the top of this lineup. Mutsaritas, the 2 spot, then Toigo and New Contradas.
And it's been up and down the lineup today that's performed, which is definitely going to be something Willie Bloomquist will be happy about. Not one-dimensional in any way. They've been stringing together a variety of hits. No home runs for their 11 runs they've scored today.
As crazy as that sounds, as crazy as it might sound, Willie Bloomquist told us yesterday he actually thinks that's kind of a good thing. He thinks in the past his offense has been almost too reliant on the long ball, and it's good to see them manufacture hits like that, because a lot of the problems they've run into is you face the big dogs, you face the TCUs in conference play or the SEC opponents next week. You're not going to win games because of home runs. You're going to need base hits, doubles.
Yeah, and early on this series, game 1, obviously basically everyone was scored by way of the long ball. Then game 2, they were only able to put 3 on the board, so this is really the first game in this series that we've really seen that consistent hitting up and down the lineup, finding holes, finding gaps, and getting those runs across.
Of Arizona State's SEC opponents next week, Oklahoma rolled 11-0 over Coppin State today. Good at bat here from Mutsaritas. Mississippi State gets by Delaware. They win the series there. and A&M took out Penn, though there were some close games in that series. So the only one of ASU's next bunch of opponents that might come in a little bit surprisingly down is Tennessee. They will have a midweek on Tuesday to get things right, but they have lost 2 out of 3 this weekend to Kent State at home, nonetheless. The last 2 games of that series. So on Saturday night, you're going to get a little bit of an angry bunch of Volunteers down at the ballpark in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, you just never know in the game of baseball, and that's why this series was so big for Arizona State, to be able to get some momentum going into those tough opponents. Because if you can have some momentum, if you can have some swag going down there, you got a shot.
Assuming nothing changes between now and the 9th inning, it'll be 7-0 Arizona State versus 7-0 Oklahoma, who as of now is 21st in the nation, but may end up moving up with that ranking on Tuesday and Wednesday down in Norman. 3-2 is strike 3 called on Mutsaritas. A good battle put up by the Sun Devils shortstop, but he does not come away with a result in that at bat. His 5th of the day.
Right fielder, number 55.
Bring up Dean Twigo.
Yeah, that's the second really long grinding at bat we've seen tonight from Mutsaritas. He had one back in the 3rd where he ended up with an RBI ground out, but that's definitely something that you want to look out for if you're Willie Bloomquist as you get ready for this tough SEC schedule. Are you able to take a lot of pitches? Are you able to foul balls off? Are you able to fight? Because extending at-bats, you never know if you're going to get one more swing that can get you a base hit, that can get you an RBI, that can get you a big run.
Ball and no strikes is hit out to center field. LeGrand is on the run. Did he come down with it? Yes, he did. Tricky to tell with all that sun out there in center field, but it's the second out of the inning. And after a just messy 6th, maybe knock on wood for their sake, St. John's has cleaned things up in the 7th.
Yeah, gotten the first 2 outs here. Been relatively clean, obviously the long at-bat from Mutsaritas, but then a good play out there in center by LeGrand to get Twigo. 2 outs, nobody on.
Strike in there on Contradas. In the Big 12, couple of notable results to tell you about. A big one, UTRGV. 8-4 winners over Houston, who did start the season very strong at 5-2. That's a dangerous Houston group. Remember, they came in and played a good series here last year at Muni. It appears Arizona's dropping to 1-7. They're down 8-2 at UConn at home in the 8th inning. They've got a lot to figure out before a weekend. Next weekend, I believe Oregon and Vanderbilt are with them, I think in Vegas. So a lot to figure out for the team down south. Good one between TCU and UCLA, that top 10 series between a strangely 2-4 TCU team, but don't let that record fool you. Some good competition. They will be the first Big 12 series of the year here at Muni. New lines out to short, and a 1-2-3 7th gets us going to the 8th. Last 2 frames of this weekend coming up. Arizona State and St. John's here on ESPN+. To the 8th we go at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, and a highly anticipated debut for Finn Edwards. Finn had a chance to go to Oregon State, declined. Went to the JUCO route, played very well last season, got drafted by the Dodgers. He's the only one on this staff of transfers that got drafted and chose to come here anyways. Willie Bloomquist had told us he had a minor back issue, and that's why he was out weekend 1, but it's good to have him back weekend 2. This is almost a trial run here, Eric Matsumoto, for what could be with one of the most highly touted transfers in this entire class.
Yeah, this is certainly a situation that you want him to be able to pitch in. A good opportunity, make his debut with the team, hopefully just have 6 uneventful outs and be able to begin establishing himself as a big piece in this ASU bullpen.
You're looking at the #1 pitching prospect in the state of Oregon for the 2024 class. Finished with a 3.67 ERA and 2 saves last year in 17 games at Iowa Western Community College. The Dodgers took him in the 18th round, but he chose to go to ASU. Now that community college piece is interesting because as far as I know, as far as we've been told, that means the JUCO route, he does not have to stay here for 3 years. He will have an option to leave at the end of this year. If he chooses to come back, he can do basically what he wants. So the count goes to 1 and 2. Normally, you come in at the D1 level, you have to play for 3 years before you're eligible to get drafted. Well, because he went JUCO first, that is out the window, and he could theoretically do 1 year here and then get drafted again. Little number headed back foul.
Yeah, that makes this season all the more important.
Yes.
That makes this outing all the more important. You know, you're not going to have a ton of film, but obviously he had the skills to get drafted, so he's going to be able to show, can he do it at the D1 level, and then maybe head right out.
Back issues kept him out that first weekend. We were told last Sunday he would face live batters on Monday, and off he goes, the Finn Edwards era here at Arizona State. Sophomore out of Bend, Oregon. Played his summer ball up there with the Bend Elks. Great franchise in the West Coast League. And an awesome pickup if he pitches anything like he did last year or in high school. He will be a nice addition out of the bullpen for Arizona State, and even he has 2 saves. He can do just about anything. 45 strikeouts, 17 walks last year, and that's his first in his Sun Devil uniform. The first D1 strikeout for Finn Edwards, dating back to the 2 that Halverson hit in the 7th. That's 3 straight for Arizona State pitchers. And would you believe it, 4 straight Johnny's retired in total. Now the bench will start to open up. In place of Rob Manzer, here's Chaz Wright.
Yeah, we saw it in game 1 as well, giving guys opportunities on the mound, in the box. That's what these games are for, especially early on in the season. As a manager, you have to know who you have on your bench. You have to know who you have in your pen.
Second appearance of the year for Chaz. Had 3 at-bats 8 days ago against Ball State. A walk and did score a run in that game. He comes off the bench here. Be curious to see what ASU does with its bench in probably its last at-bat here in the 8th. Willie, in a similar situation on Friday night, got some guys in. You'd love to see an at-bat from Cooper Klauser. He got one on Friday. There's a lot of freshmen just sitting and waiting. Bloomquist, he told us that he had had a conversation on after the game yesterday with his freshmen, and he's been very encouraging, but he said, like, this has been the goal. If you came here 2 or 3 years ago, at your skill level, you probably would have been starting, but the goal is to get, an older, experienced group of guys, and that means you're going to get your playing time, but it's going to be in bits and pieces, and you're going to have to work for it. And in the meantime, you sit and learn from the guys behind you.
And it's so important in the college landscape that we have now that you have freshmen who are on board with that you're not creating clashes in the locker room, that you have guys who are open and willing to sit for a good chunk of a year, learn, take their at-bats where they can get them, and then be ready to contribute to the team sophomore, junior year.
That's a good way to describe Chaz Wright, too. He didn't play last year at all. Sat on the bench, watched his teammates, learned a little bit, now has his opportunities. That's a great play from Contreras, but they just missed the tag at first. His throw, very awkward angle across his body, and Smaldino thought maybe he hit Manzer on the backhand, or rather Wright on the backhand, but instead Chaz reaches. That should be an infield single.
I believe they gave him an error for that. It was a good job to get over to it, but then his momentum just carried the throw up the line, and good job by Wright. Hustling meant that he was able to avoid that tag from Smaldino.
And that's a throwing error. Gets Chaz on. Strike here on Jack Tate. College debut for Finn Edwards. Could face the minimum if he gets a double play ball here. You can see already he is a strike thrower. He gets a lot of whiffs.
And that's really important for young guys looking to establish themselves. Be able to get those outs. Get those strikes.
This is Christian Bernardini, who gets his first opportunity, but is one of the few that actually has been with St. John's a couple years. Remember back when they beat Mississippi State in the regionals in 2024? He had an RBI in that game. Right side, foul ground, long run. Nobody has it. He is St. John's royalty. His dad, Mark, played baseball and football with the Johnnies in '93 and '94. Hit .070 last season in 43 at-bats, so he's hoping to turn that around. Hasn't played in this series, but did have an RBI and an 0-for-3 start to his season against Ball State on opening day. He's in for Tate in the DH spot. Tate finishes his day 1-for-3 with a single. Edwards got him looking. That's 2 strikeouts in the first 3 batters Finn Edwards has faced at the D1 level.
Well, you mentioned he throws strikes, and he's putting them in there, and especially in a situation like this. Come in, throw strikes, force the opponent to put the bat on the ball, and he's done a great job so far. Only runner on base via the error on Contreras.
18 pitches for Finn. This will be his 19th. Can it get him out of the inning? No, not quite. It's going to find the stance. You keep that pitch count low. We don't know what the plans would be for the 9th here, but you keep that pitch count low. Finn is as good as fresh, maybe in the back end of those midweeks, certainly in Arlington. And not using him that opening weekend means there's that much less film for people to look at. Makes him that much more dangerous. Sure, it couldn't have been a good feeling for him getting injured. We were told this was like a lingering thing from the fall. You know, backs can be weird like that sometimes. And he just wasn't quite ready to go, and I'm sure it wasn't fun for him to sit on opening weekend and watch everybody else get in the game, but he rehabbed whatever the issue was well, and making the most of his first college appearance at the D1 level, 18th overall. 1-2 runner on. Off to short. Welcome to college baseball, Finn Leach. He faces 4 and he sets down 3 here in the 8th. And we go bottom 8, maybe last at bat of the weekend for Arizona State. They lead this game big. Off we go to the last of the 8th inning. Tyler Longoria, next arm for St. John's. Seen some Connecticutians in this game, in the games this weekend. And Tyler is from Watertown, more upstate. Went to Avon Old Farms, very well-regarded prep school. And then pitched in 12 games his freshman season last year. This year he has not appeared, so this is his 2026 debut. Not the first St. John's pitcher we've said that about.
Yeah, it'll be a different infield defense behind him as well. Robert Jacobson enters the game as the second baseman. Wright remains in the game at short for Manser. Aiden Fry moves over to third base.
Translation is that all of the changes we saw last inning just apply defensively now. So, it'll go down to the ASU lineup one more time. Dom Smaldino first up and a strike. This, of course, the point in the game where you just double-check the on-deck circle and such to make sure that everyone is hitting where they're supposed to be. As of now, that is not the case. Cooper Klauser is waiting to hit for Garrett Michelle. That's the DH spot, so Nikolai will stay in the game as the catcher most likely. Maybe the only time this season we see all 3 catchers get in the game. I know Tommy Brown is still on the roster, but the three that we're expecting to see this year. Little number in front of the mound. Smaldino hustles down to first, but the throw gets there just in time. And here comes Coop. Big, highly ranked freshman local product has an opportunity again. Got one on Friday night and drew a walk. He got in the game on Friday to catch as well. That's not going to happen here, but still gets that opportunity to hit. And boy, did he hit last year. He's one of those committed very early on. He's from Tempe, so you know he grew up going to ASU games, but he's one of those that you saw him commit, immediately start following his career, and felt like every week last year, every time he'd get to play, we think, man, Look what Cooper Klauser did. He's about to be a Sun Devil. It's going to be great to have him, and now it is. He had a 481 average. And Arizona high school baseball, not exactly an easy place to do that. 4 homers resulted in a 5A state championship. His teammate Ryan Caruso also played here. I think the most interesting thing, though, about Cooper is his grandfather, national champion here at Arizona State, member of the 2nd national championship team in 1967. 2-1. He's got his first college hit. Cooper Klauser the other way. He gets some love from the dugout. The first of likely many from the Tempe native, with 1 out here in the 8th inning.
And that's what at-bats like those are all about giving him the opportunity, letting him show what he can do. A nice piece of hitting to be able to use the opposite side of the field, just a slicing base hit, and that's gotta feel good for him.
It is the young guns to come to the plate here in the 9th inning for Arizona State. This is the sophomore Beckett Savorik, who saw a lot of time, as we mentioned, last season as a freshman. This will be his 5th at-bat of the day. And even after Zavorik, you'll get Cohen Nikolai, who is a sophomore, and Kai McGarry, who's a sophomore as well. So 4 consecutive batters here to close out the ASU lineup, minus any substitutions of either freshmen or sophomores, who all you would hope would be back in the lineup for years to come. Zavorik ahead in the count, 2-0. Now it's 2-1. He's found himself a 2-hit day, should bring his average close to or above 300. OBP coming in was 308. That should get elevated as well.
Yeah, they've experimented with him a little bit. Second base, a little bit at third base, just trying to find different ways to give him a few more opportunities at the plate.
Does appear to be action in the ASU bullpen, so that may be the day for Finn Edwards. Not too shabby start for him. Would be shocked if you don't see him at some point over the next 5 games, maybe multiple times. They send the runner. It won't matter, as that's ball 4 to Zavorik. Klauser was moving too. He saw a little bit of speed from him. Goes first and second here for Cohen Nikolai. And McGarry is on deck, so no subs after Klauser yet. Maybe top of the lineup gets subbed out if you get there. Good opportunity for Edwards to get in a low-pressure situation, too.
Yeah, you never want to throw a guy into a high-pressure situation in his debut if you can avoid it. You want to be able to let him establish himself at the collegiate level, and that's what he was really able to do and was quite successful as well. Got the 2 strikeouts, had a good inning overall, even worked around an error, which is something that you do want to see as well from a young player, being able to work with maybe not getting the outs you thought you were going to get. How do you bounce back from that? And so you saw a lot of good things in such a short outing.
Even that 1 inning help him learn a little bit for his next outing. Ball and 2 strikes here on Cohen. 0 for 2. That foul out in his first at bat and then the ground out. Remember, Briggs started in this spot. Sam Myers got an at bat. Nikolai has had the last 2. 2 on, 1 out. Devils rolling on this Sunday, 11-3. 6 of those 11 runs came in the 6th inning. Very much like Friday. Took a little while. Maybe let St. John's hang around a little longer than ASU would have liked, but they pull away as the game moves on. That's also a Sunday trend for them. They know it gets so hard to get these bats out at any point in the weekend, but especially when you face them on a Sunday and you're at the back end of your bullpen, and it's a lot of guys that you're just getting in for the first time, and it's late, it's hot, everyone has played, 18, 19, 20 innings already. That's usually when ASU hits the best. 2 on, 1 out, 1-2. Down the line and fair. It gets over the head of Rafe Stanger. Nikolai's first hit of the weekend scores the run. And Arizona State leads 12-3 as Klauser hustles home.
And they're going to check on obstruction at second base. There was a little bit of a collision there. Zavorik ran into, I believe it was the shortstop right, but since he didn't make an effort to go to third, they'll keep him at second.
Center fielder, number 17, Kai McGarry.
Here's Kai McGarry, just trying to build on an excellent debut. He has 2 walks, 2 singles, and 2 runs scored. First time he gets a shot, and he is using every minute of it. First pitch to him is ball 1. It's going to be very hard for Willie Bloomquist to justify putting anybody else in there, at least for the next couple games.
A good problem for a manager to have.
As good as Matt Polk is there in center, how do you pull Kai after this day? One, 2 on, 1 out. Devils blind 9. Roller third base. Rafe Stanger overran it. E5 loads him up. Still only 1 out in this inning, and the lineup turns over for Landon Hairston.
I think they actually ruled that one a base hit. When you have McGarry's speed, you can get a little bit of help from the scorers as well.
There. He had that single that started the rally in the 6th. Could he start one more here? Hairston 2 hits and a walk. This will be Landon's 6th at bat of the game. A lot of opportunities for everybody. He smacks one in the air to center. The ball has not traveled at all this weekend. Legrand makes the catch. Tagging and scoring is Zavorik from third. Landon smacked one, but it wasn't enough to get the ball out. It was enough for a sac fly, though, and it's 13-3 Arizona State with P.J. Mutsaritas now.
Shortstop, number 10, P.J. Mutsaritas.
Mutsaritas, his first hit back in the 6th, his only hit of this day. Part of that rally. Struck out looking last inning. This is the 3rd consecutive inning he's come to the plate. Pickup from Cal has been exemplary defensively today. Minus a weird bounce or 2.
And he's had a great weekend defensively. Obviously played on Friday, had a couple nice plays there as well. And like we talked about, that's so important, especially from your shortstop. Captain of the infield needs to be able to be making plays. and he's done a good job.
Off to third. Rafe Stanger, a long throw, and it gets by McMillan at first. They'll give him the base hit. Aiden Fry's throw goes errant. Merry-go-round begins. It's 14-3.
Fifth error of the game between these two teams. A good play to get over to the ball, and then just puts it a little low. McMillan tried to pick it, but just couldn't get it. And another across for the Sun Devils. Make it an 11-run lead.
PJ should have a hit there. Brings up Ryan Dara. So here's your sub, and a good one at that. First swing as a college baseball player, the freshman, very highly touted from Louisiana. You'll remember that name from a team that won the Little League World Series 2019, and he wears it. His first college at bat, he's going on base as he takes the ball right to his back.
Well, doing his best Dean Toigo impression. Got hit. Toigo got hit twice yesterday. Derek comes in to pinch hit for him, right square in the back, and he took it like a champ.
They'll take New out of this game and give Austin Rolling a shot. How about that? It's only the second pitch he sees. The first pitch he sees, he swings at, took a good one too. And then the second one plunks him.
Welcome to college.
Yes, sir. The scouting report is that he played just about every spot on the diamond in his prep years, a 384 average over his 2 varsity seasons at Brother Martin down in New Orleans, Louisiana. What was Willie telling us last night? He said, you guys haven't even seen some of these freshmen that are just sitting and waiting for opportunities. He specifically mentioned Ryan Dara by name. Jackson Durst is in there. There are some good players, and that's probably for an opponent. Good block by Agretti at the plate. Just took a weird bounce. That's probably the scariest thing for an opponent of Arizona State's. Even if you don't see these kids this year, you're looking at next year and the year after that with some just dirty sophomores and juniors that are going to take over this program, that are sitting right now and learning about what it means to be a Sun Devil and learning about how to play at this level. And by the time they have a year under their belts, you just wait to see what some of these kids are capable of, and Ryan Dara is certainly a good example of it. 2 balls, no strikes on Rolling. He's the 9th hitter in this lineup, or 9th hitter of the inning. Make it 3 innings in this game. The 3rd, the 6th, and now the 8th that Arizona State has hit around. A good thing to do.
Certainly very nice to have, and it's what we know this offense is capable of. We were really just waiting for it all weekend. They had that one big inning in the 7th of game 1, but really we were just waiting for them to string the hits together, string the good at-bats together, and they finally got it here today. Had a nice third, I beg your pardon, that St. John's helped him out with, but then a nice 6th inning, and the young guys put together a nice 8th here.
Three-two with the bases loaded. Nikolai McGarry out there, and Dara is on first. Runners take off, pitches in the air down the line. It is a long run for Fitzsimmons, and feels like nobody's been able to make a play down there this weekend. That has been a tricky spot of the ballpark.
Yeah, it's always tough going down the line. A lot of these balls have been from right-handed hitters. They've been having tail going that way. Obviously, there was the triple in that corner last night.
Incredibly hard to hit a ground rule double in this ballpark with how high the walls are. Saw one down there last night. 3-2. Rolex spoils one again. Sun Devils won't come home until LMU in a couple weeks. Team from California coming in. Right side, and it goes through the wickets at second base. It went right through Jacobson's legs and brings home 2 more runs. Runners go to the corners. Nikolai is in. Like McGarry got in as well. And Ryan Dara goes to third. I think he said base hit, right?
I believe that one did go down as another error. 6th of the night, 3rd for St. John's. ASU's had 3. It's just been one of those days.
Messy game. Puts Rolig on base. Here's another freshman, Jackson Durst. I feel like we've said all of them are highly touted because they all are. The recruiting from Willie Bloomquist and Sam Peraza has been off the charts. It's only gotten better since they first got here. Obviously, always difficult with a coaching change. But as they have gone on, and of course now Willie 2 years extended, so he's got all the more confidence to show from the university. Their recruiting has only gotten better. Landon Hairston coming in last year as a freshman, even Beckett, Zavorik, Kai, and now these kids that are coming in now. It is only going to get better with the resources that have been added to this program. And the results now to show for it. Good stop there by McMillan, and that will end the inning as Durst goes down in his college debut. Off we go to the ninth. Sun Devils 3 outs from a series sweep and a 7-0 start here at Muni. Sunday winding down here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. It is 16-3. Arizona State. The late innings have been kind to the Devils, and the late innings are where we've seen Eli Buxton coming in for his sophomore year. He's one of two that are in that closer spot. It's Buxton today. Not a save opportunity, of course, but again, he'll take that inning and hopefully learn something here that he can bring into next weekend, or possibly during the midweek. They may need a closing spot there. He will face LeGrand, Rafe Stanger, McMillan, assuming that's who comes to the plate in those spots. We are waiting on these defensive changes. There will be many. We can tell you now that Jackson Durst is out in left. Landon Hairston has moved to first base, which is where we thought maybe he would end up for this season, but he's out in left most of the time, but he's at first now. Kai McGarry goes to center. Ryan Dara is in right. Rolig is at third. Moutsaritas at short still. So Beckett went from third off to second base. We mentioned Landon at first. Cohen Nikolai still the catcher, and Eli Buxton is on the mound in a 16-3 ball game. And the first pitch is rolled right through the right side. Good effort by Zavorik, but it gets by him for a base hit. That was not weak contact either. As much as he had struggled to begin this weekend, LeGrand is likely going to end it with back-to-back singles.
Yeah, and if you look at the weekend as a whole, he was still getting on base, still worked a walk every game. So definitely not probably the weekend he wanted, but solid nonetheless. And now we have Jacobson, who obviously came in as the defensive replacement last inning.
Strike on Robert, the senior, Temecula, California. I love the angle that Buxton throws at. So difficult to hit. He's a tall kid, and he throws almost directly overhead. It is that much harder to hit. Look at the arm slot he's going at.
Yeah, it kind of reminds you of like a Mark Melanson sort of, just that, that big over-the-top, really allows you to just get on top of pitches, get some good spike on some of your breaking balls.
Ball four puts Jacobson on first base and LeGrand forced up to second. You really just want a clean inning out of Buxton here after all the ugliness that has occurred on both sides today. Gonna get this game over with.
We've seen 19 runs, we've seen 25 hits, 6 errors, 3 wild pitches, 2 replay reviews. Just about a little bit of everything, and why not add one more?
You gotta make a song out of it. The 12 Days of Sunday at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. McMillan is in for his 5th at bat. He's been good today. Single, walk, error, and then was finally set down in the 7th when he grounded out. He's been a tough out. That's a strike. Much needed week off coming up for St. John's. Not even week. I shouldn't say that, but 4 days just to get their heads right. They'll be 1-6 when this thing is done, and they'll head off to a tough Kentucky team.
And it wouldn't hurt, you know, in this inning, show a little bit of fight, see if you can get these 2 runners across. You struggled with it all series. You know, getting swept is rough, but it's about learning experiences. So can you take something away here in the last inning?
Kentucky, number 18 in the nation right now, certainly winnable. 9-2 winners Friday, 5-3 winners yesterday, but lost 1-0 to Evansville in the back end of that doubleheader that they played yesterday. Strikeout there from Linder, first out of the ninth. So you look at that and you think, certainly winnable. At least one or two of those games. They will play this week. St. John's will not. So you have that in your advantage as well. ASU almost at a disadvantage in that they played 2 this week. No other team that they will face in Arlington will be playing 2, though they all play midweeks.
Always
0-1
tough
here on Fitzsimmons.
Always tough when you got 2 on the slate, especially before the weekend that ASU is about to have. But, you know, how can you use that to your advantage? Build some momentum against an Oklahoma team that is quite good.
It is a test, to say the least. But you know that Willie Bloomquist would not be scheduling that if he didn't believe his team was up to it. 5 of the 6 games they'll play against the SEC this year in the regular season. Missouri, they've added on to the end of the series that they'll play at UCF. And Missouri, maybe not the top tier of the SEC, but an SEC program, and more importantly, a game on the road, which should boost the RPI ever so slightly.
Yeah, Willie Bloomquist talked about it yesterday. You know, it's not a perfect science. It's just a matter of scheduling games against opponents that you think will be good, against opponents that obviously you think you still have a good chance to beat, but being able to create just the best resume that you can.
0-2 drops down and right. LeGrand hustles home. Fitzsimmons has a 2-hit day. A great first 2 weekends of his college career. That is the future of St. John's baseball out in right field there. Off to third goes Robert Jacobson. Runners to the corners now for Aiden Fry. His last 2 at-bats, he's been set down on strikes. Lined out to center, and it drops in. Overrun by McGarry just a little bit. Runners go to second and third. They might have been able to squeeze Fitzsimmons in, but instead they just get Jacobson. And the runner Fry, who was pretty quick to go there, gets off to second base. This ball was just hit to the opposite side of where McGarry was. And
yeah, they did end up ruling that an error on McGarry, allowing Fry to get over to second.
So a single and then an E8. Off to second, Contreras, second out of the inning. Fitzsimmons is in. Fry goes over to third.
And these 3 runs are big for St. John's. You know, we talked all weekend about their struggles to hit with runners on base. So even in a game that's gotten out of reach, being able to just have those hits, being able to score some of those runs, it means something. And it looks like we are going to have one more pitcher for the Sun Devils before we close this one out.
For 1 out here in the ninth, we'll take a break for the final time. Back in a moment here on ESPN+. Nick Anello will come in for one more out on this Sunday. All third team in the A-Sun last year at Jacksonville. He's had a long journey to get to ASU. He was at Blanc, then East Florida State. Got his D1 opportunity last year at Jacksonville. Was outstanding. In 19 games out of the bullpen, he had 9 saves. So he could be a candidate to close as well, and steps up now to pitch with the Sun Devils. That's what you love about the transfer portal, isn't it? That a guy started at Blanc College, works his way up to a D1 opportunity at Jacksonville, and even from there takes it a step further and works his way to a Power 4 opportunity with Arizona State, who's certainly happy to get that experience with him his final year of college baseball.
Yeah, and you're able to see that a lot, especially in baseball. Guys are able to bounce around a little bit more. We talked about it with St. John's, a lot of previous JUCO players there being able to then get opportunities. So just having the ability to go from smaller schools to bigger schools to D1 schools to Power 4 schools, and just get a guy who has experience pitching beyond the high school level, if you're ASU in this case, and then if you're Anello, being able to get bigger and bigger opportunities as your career goes on.
It's his Sun Devil debut. Said that about a lot of players, not just tonight, but this weekend. The last of 7 straight home games ASU has to open the season. If they can just get this last out, it's their best start since 2019. That kind of demonstrates how this team has not always, you know, it's not, how do I put this? The first 2 weekends, sometimes 3 of the year, are usually a little bit lower level in opponents. You're not facing the biggest, baddest teams on the schedule right off the bat. And yet, the fact that this is going to be their best start since 2019 demonstrates how, even with that level of opponent in, it's not always easy to win 7-8 games in a row to open the season, even at home. So what they've done here, though on paper maybe not the most impressive thing, certainly should not be discounted. Anello walks his first batter.
Wins are wins, and especially
Yes.
in the game of baseball, any team can beat any team on any given day. I mean, we've seen it. Teams drop games that they're expected to win, but still being able to have wins early on is meaningful regardless of the opponent that you're facing.
Right down south, Arizona had a tough schedule to start the season, but has struggled out of the gate. And yet, I think a lot of people would still say, including fans of Arizona, if they can just start to hit a little bit, they're right back in this thing. That team was in the World Series this past year. Ball and no strikes. Off to second, and the Devils finish off the sweep. They got better and better as they went on. 16-6 in a marathon Sunday battle. Arizona State finishes 7-0 on the first homestand of the year, their best start since 2019. This team that has some high expectations on how they're going to finish the season starts the year with a nice, solid slate of wins.
It wasn't pretty tonight. It wasn't pretty all weekend, but they got the wins, and that was something we talked about they didn't do in previous years. So being able to have this 7-0 start, very good for this team as they get ready for a very difficult part of their schedule next week.
And it turns now to the first of 5 consecutive games against the SEC, possibly all against ranked opponents, depending on what happens tomorrow. They'll face Oklahoma in Norman on Tuesday and Wednesday before Mississippi State, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. And the college baseball series next weekend in Arlington. Our producer-director, Christian Jarmark and Riley Kelton, Miles, Keegan, Molly, Alex, all making things look pretty as well. For Amanda Roach and my wonderful partner, Eric Matsumoto, I'm Aiden Blanc saying so long from Muni. It's the best Sun Devils start since 2019, a 10-run win to close out the second weekend of the regular season. Arizona State, the winners from Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Good night.